So as I was discussing, this Indian biomes have got a close relevance with the world biomes. In the world biomes, we have studied about the tropical evergreen forest, the equatorial evergreen forest. Then we did the desert thorny vegetations. We did two grassland, that was the tropical grassland and the temperate grassland. We even did other biomes like Mediterranean, then coniferous forest. So here in the case of India, Indian biomes, we need not go again into the basic of those biomes. We need to know just two things. One is where in India these biomes are located, and secondly, we can look for some examples. So like for example, the question here, it says tropical wet evergreen forest, in which region are they? Okay. Then the largest area occupied by any specific forest in India, teak is an example of which forest? Red sandal, okay, that is this red sandalwood. Which region of India they are mainly found? Dalbergia species, okay, is associated with which type of tree? Then one description is given, and it is said that open stunted forest is found in which part of India? And so is the case with the region having mangroves, evergreen and deciduous forest all at one place. So which region is this? And Himalaya, as I had said, that Himalaya's favorite area of UPSC. So they had asked a lot of question in mountains, a lot of question on the Himalayan rivers, and here a lot of question on the Himalayan vegetation. So if you go to Himalaya, which vegetation you will get to see? In the Himalayas, species diversity is high. What is the reason? Okay, again, species of the Himalaya, which species is seen in the Himalayas, and some question on the mangroves. Okay, so let us quickly look into these vegetations of India. Okay, as I had said that mainly this topic is again mainly prelims oriented, and not many questions from the mains have been asked. So be it any region, the factors responsible for the variation in the vegetations are many. That is the availability of sunlight and the rainfall, and these variation is because of the geographical extent. So is the case with the India. Okay, India have a vast geographical extent and different topography. Okay, altitude wise, there are mountains having high altitude, low altitude region. This mountain creates a windward and the leeward side conditions. Temperature gradients along the latitude, altitude, they also play a very important role in distribution of the sunlight and the rainfall. Then the climatic variations, you take the case of this Rajasthan, very high temperature and low rainfall, so aridity condition, and you take the case of Kerala and Andaman Nicobar, sufficient amount of the rainfall, though the temperature is high enough. Then influence of monsoon, Western Ghats have relatively higher monsoon, so is the case with the vegetations. Very dense vegetation is found in the Western Ghat. Soil composition play a very important role. Okay, the type of the soil determines the vegetation types. Then human interventions, then biodiversity hotspots, and the availability of the sunlight. So likewise, Indian biomes are also classified into following major categories. So tropical evergreen and semi-evergreen forest, we know the characteristic of these forests. They are mainly associated with those regions in India where the rainfall is more than 200 centimeter. Okay, they are very tall, they are very well stratified, and they have shrubs and creepers also. And since they do not have a specific season wherein they would shed the leaves, so they are evergreen for most part of the year. Important species: rosewood, mahogany, jackfruit. Jackfruit was there in the question last year. Aini, ebony, and other some species are important. Okay, in India, where are they found? Those regions having relatively higher rainfall. Okay, so the question is, in which of the above states do tropical wet evergreen forests occur? Arunachal Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, or Mizoram? See, Himachal Pradesh is west of the Himalaya. West of the Himalaya में less rainfall. East of the Himalaya में high rainfall. So second statement will be wrong. Arunachal Pradesh and Mizoram can be correct. Okay. Tropical deciduous forest, moist and dry. it is this forest only which covers the majority part of the India. Moist deciduous forests are in those regions where the rainfall is between 100 to 200 centimeter. So majority of the northeastern states, Himalayan foothills, Eastern Ghats and Odisha have got this species. Some important species is teak, sal, shisham, hurra, mahua. Again prelims question, amla, simul, kusum, sandalwood, teak have been asked many times. Okay, so it is a moist deciduous forest. Dry deciduous forest, the rainfall is relatively less, 70 to 100 centimeter, and it is, of course, it will be found adjacent to that of the moist deciduous forest only. So majority part of the India having this dry deciduous forest, species like tendu, pala, amalthas, bale, khair, excelwood and others. As said, the difference related to the moist deciduous and dry deciduous forest have not been asked, but it is advisable that you do it. The rainfall is between 100 to 200. The rainfall is 75 to 70 to 100, mainly found in northeastern states, foothills of the Himalaya, Jharkhand, west of the Odisha, Chhattisgarh, eastern slope of the Western Ghat. And western slope of Western Ghat, yes, western slope of Western Ghat, this tropical evergreen and semi-evergreen forest. Then dry deciduous forests, they are mainly found in the rainier part of the Peninsula Plateau, like the plains of the Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. Important species is teak, bamboo, sal, khair, kusum, arjun, mulberry, sandalwood. Okay, and over here what we have seen, tendus, palas, amalthas. And the difference is not needed, but if you have done it, it is good. Here the question, 2023, jackfruit, mahua, teak. How many of the above are deciduous? So mahua and teak is deciduous, jackfruit is evergreen. Okay, so only 2 is correct. Then which forest occupy the largest area? It is the deciduous forest occupy the largest area in India, and in the world it is, I hope you remember there was question related, same question with in the context of world biome. Which biome occupies the largest area? So it was the boreal forest or coniferous forest, okay, or the taiga forest. The question is, in India, in which one of the following type of forest? Teak is a dominant tree species. So teak is an important tropical moist deciduous forest, right? Okay, proceeding further now, there are like many questions. Red sandalwood is sandalwood. So it is the tree species found in a part of South India. They haven't mentioned any state or region in this part of South India. South India is big. So usually such questions which is general, which is not giving any specific information, such questions are usually correct. Okay, if they had mentioned they are found in Western Ghat, okay, specific, they have mentioned like they are found in Nilgiri, okay, specific region if they mention, then there is very high chance that they will give a wrong data over there. But in general type of question, they are usually correct. It is one of the most tree in the tropical rainforest area of the South India, not the rainforest. It is the deciduous forest, okay, deciduous forest. So second statement is wrong. Tropical thorny vegetations, so they have their specific characteristic for surviving in the less water condition, okay, where the rainfall, they are found in those regions where the rainfall is less than 50 centimeter. So here these regions are Southwest Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh. Important species are babool, bear, wild dates, palm, khair, neem, khejri, palas and others. Okay, you must do couple of these questions as they are very, very important. Mangroves. Now mangroves is very, very important because of the important characteristic that they have and the influence that they have on the on the entire wetland. So they are mainly found in the salt marshy area, tidal creek, mud flats and the estuaries. You must have seen mangroves sometime. In the case of India, they cover a very small region, like roughly 5,000 square kilometer, okay, which as per the forest report of 2021. Now features of the mangroves, they can tolerate a very saline condition. Even in the very high salinity they can sustain. So they are known as halophytes, okay. Low oxygen condition, they can survive in the very low oxygen condition also. So in the water in which they are surviving, the oxygen concentration is very, very less. So in order to receive moisture from the air, what happens is their roots come out. So their roots will take the oxygen directly from the air, not from the water. Okay, so in that condition their roots are called as the breathing roots. Or also known as pneumatophores. This is a very important characteristic for them to survive in the less oxygen condition. Then many plants, many trees, many species cannot survive in those conditions where mangroves can survive. They have a succulent leaf. See, they are surviving in the salty water condition, and salt water is not good for the survival of the vegetation, so they filter the water, okay, and store the fresh water in their leaves. So the leaves are spongy, they are succulent, and in order to prevent the loss of the water, the fresh water they have derived after filtration. So it is the hard work that they have done in filtration of the water. They don't want to lose that water. So their leaves are waxy coating also. So they are spongy, succulent, and they are waxy coated. And viviparous. They are viviparous. So viviparity means what? The seeds of this plant, they germinate on the plant itself, and after that germination it will fall, and then it will grow further. So the germination of the new plant starts from the parent plant itself. So it is viviparity. Okay, so such characteristic usually not seen in the plants. This is the characteristic usually in the mammals. In India, they are found in several parts, especially in the western coastal region. As we know that delta is mainly in the eastern part of the India. So Sundarban, Bhitarkanika, Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, then Pichavaram, Muthupet. Okay, these are important regions where mangroves are found. Also in the Andaman and Nicobar Island. These regions are also important. Gulf of Kutch, Bhavnagar, Mumbai, okay, Zuari, then Kundapur, which is in Karnataka, and Kochi. Okay, there is one question on match the column. Okay, so you cannot afford to just have an observation where they are, mainly in the east, but where, specific location, specific name is also important. As you can see this question, here is the question: mangroves and the states. So Achara, Ratnagiri, Kondapur, Pichavaram, Vembanad. Okay, so in India they are found the biggest delta of the world, Sundarban, which is in the West Bengal, and majority of this region is in the Bangladesh. Okay, and Bhitarkanika, which is formed by the confluence of two rivers, Brahmani and Baitani. Bhitarkanika is very, very important, very frequently asked by UPSC, because it is very important from the biodiversity point of view. Krishna Godavari mangroves. Mangroves are also found along the mouth of majority of the bigger rivers like Ganga, Mahanadi, Krishna, Godavari, then Kaveri, mainly the east flowing rivers. Then Vembanad in Kerala, Pichavaram in Tamil Nadu. Okay, so all of these regions host sufficient mangroves, but they are facing a lot of threats, mainly because of climate change and deforestation. Okay, so they have a very high significance, ecological stabilization. They protect the coastal area against high tide, cyclones, and they also prevent the coastal area from being eroded by the waves and the tides. They also help in the water purification, and the biodiversity is very high. Primary productivity is very, very high. So they do carbon sequestration, and they are very important for blue carbon storage. Okay, and since the biodiversity is very, very high, so they support a lot of other vegetations and the other living organisms. Okay, so these are some couple of the questions that should be attempted, very easy questions. Then the last is this montane forest. So montane forest are those forests which is have found mainly in the northern mountainous region and the south also, southern part of the India. And this mountain forest in the northern, that is the Himalaya, they exhibit the ecological succession of vegetation from tropical to that of the tundra. As different altitude, you will get to see different vegetations. Then the foothills of the Himalayas will have different set of vegetations. As the altitude increases, the temperature and precipitation keeps on changing, and you will get to see different set of vegetation in these regions. So it is advised that student must study the west and the east Himalayas, the vegetation found in the west and the east Himalayas. Do you remember West Himalaya? West Himalaya is far from the coastal area, so West Himalaya this snow line is like much lower. The much region is covered by snow. And East Himalaya, do you remember that it is close to the sea, so the snow line is much higher. Okay, so secondly, the Western Himalaya is relatively taller. Do you remember that? And the East Himalaya is relatively shorter. So in that context, there will be difference in the terms of vegetations, because there will be different amount of precipitation. West Himalayas. So West Himalayas, the foothills of the West Himalayas will have deciduous forest. Okay, between 1000 to 2000 meter, it would be like wet temperate forest, which is mainly broadleaf forest. There is a specific belt of blue pine and spruce trees. Then 2000 to 3000 meter, pine forest is there. Cheer, pine, deodar, chinar, walnut, these are important species. 3000 to 4000 meter, alpine forest, which has mainly silver, fir, juniper, pine, birch, rhododendron. And beyond 4000 till the snow line, tundra forest having lichens and mosses. So also between 2000 to 3000 meter above the sea level, there is an important grassland known as Bugyal and Marg. Bugyal grassland, the term is used in Uttarakhand, Marg in Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, so the west of the West Himalaya is mainly dominated by alpine forest. It is mainly dominated by alpine forest. If you go to the East Himalaya, okay, if you go to the East Himalayas, the East Himalayas, foothills of the East Himalaya, tropical rainforest. See, because East Himalaya is close to the Bay of Bengal, so the foothills will have sufficiently high rainfall. Because of that, tropical rainforest is there. But foothills of the rainforest is not seen in the West Himalaya. It is only seen in the East Himalayas. Then 1000 to 2000 meter, evergreen broadleaves trees are there. Then 2000 to 3000 meter, temperate forest is there. Beyond the 3000, coniferous forest is there. Okay, so in the evergreen forest, broadleaves forest, oak and chestnut is there. Then temperate forest may laurel, maple, birch, rhododendron is there. Coniferous forest may juniper is there. East Himalaya mainly it is the oak and the rhododendron, they are dominating. Okay, mountains are mostly shorter, and over here the mountains are relatively taller. I hope this basic difference between the West and the East Himalayas is clear. Then we may take into consideration one or two questions over here. See, if you travel through the Himalayas, you are likely to see vision of the following plants naturally growing there. Himalayas may oak will be there. They haven't said West Himalaya or East Himalaya, so you can take in general any. So oak is there, rhododendron is there, sandalwood. Sandalwood is not there. The sandalwood is mainly associated with the South India. Okay. Then another simple question. The Himalaya range is very rich in the species diversity. Which one of the following is the most appropriate reason? We saw that in the Himalaya, from foothills to the higher altitude, at different altitude, different vegetation you will get to see. So entire range is full of diverse species. Okay. So what is the reason? Different biogeographical zone. Okay. And here is the question. In Himalaya, which is the species that is found in the Himalayas? So it is a juniper. Which one of the following is not essentially a species of the Himalaya? You will get to see juniper, silver fir and spruce, but not the mahogany. Okay, mahogany is a deciduous forest, which is mainly found in the southern part. Bugyal. Bugyal, we studied, it is a grassland mainly found in the Uttarakhand. Okay, this Bugyal is often termed as nature's own garden. It is also termed as the alpine meadow, and it is mainly found between 3000 to 4000 meter above the sea level. During the winter, this region gets covered by the snow. So because of that, all the vegetations and the flowers, they get covered by the snow and they die. And during the summer, which is warm and relatively when the snow melts, so during that time, flower and grasses grow. Then Marg is the grassland in the Jammu and Kashmir region. It is called as the meadows of the flower. This Gulmarg region, Sonmarg region is very important tourist destination also, and these are usually found 3000 meter above the sea level. Then there is these two are what? Bugyal and Marg are temperate grassland of India. Very small region, not covering a very large region. Banni grassland is a tropical grassland of India. I hope you remember the tropical and temperate grassland in the case of world biomes. So in India, we do have tropical and temperate, but they are on a very, very small scale. So Banni grassland is a tropical grassland, and over here, this Banni region is declared as the protected forest. Under this Forest Act, and like a good number of species of grasses, birds, flowering plants, all are there. This region, which is the Kutch part of this Gujarat, mainly grassland is found in those region, and it is concentrated in a very smaller region of this Gujarat, that is Kutch Saurashtra region. And this region is facing, this grassland is facing a threat due to this invasive species of the plant known as this Prosopis juliflora. Okay, Prosopis juliflora. This was also prelims question. It is a invasive species. So once this species is introduced in some region, it is going to invade the other region, that region, and that can be a threat to the vegetation. Okay, now in 2019, when this forest report had come, UPSC had asked one question related to that forest report. In 2021, the report came in 2022, but it is a forest report of 2021. So during this time, the question was not there from the report. And now every 2 years this report comes. This report will again come in 2023, but it is 24 now. So after mainly the election, this report might come. So definitely you will have this report after your prelims exam. And if prelims is missed, then maybe they will ask this question in mains related to the forest report. Okay, so here we understood that having a basic understanding of the world biomes will help us to better understand the Indian biomes. Now it is time that we must do the soil. Soil is another important topic, and a small topic, not very difficult question, but soil related question you can expect any year, because soil degradation is increasing and soil conservation have become the topmost priority for the government, because India is an agricultural country, and if the soil fertility is reduced, the agriculture productivity will decline, and the demand will continue to rise because of increasing population, and then it is going to cause further environmental degradation. There can be other problems like food inflation can happen. Okay, so soil is very, very important, especially the threats or problem related to the soil, that is soil degradation and the conservation effort. As such, 2-3 basic questions have also been asked, that is the types of the soil, basics about the soil. So question related to the soil should be discussed. Now, basic and types of soil, they have asked question on black cotton soil, they have asked question on the laterite soil, some characteristic. Recently in 2021, they had asked question on the black cotton soil. It is found because of weathering of which type of rocks. Okay, laterite soil, they have given some characteristic about the laterite soil. Similarly, with respect to the red soil, they have given question related to asking why it is red. Okay, because of presence of which mineral, and the soil of Andhra Pradesh, it was once asked. Okay, soil degradation is more preferred area. Soil degradation includes the soil erosion. Okay, and there are several reasons for the soil degradation. So is the case with the soil conservation also. And soil salinity or soil alkalinity or soil acidity. Okay, all of them have been asked. Soil conservation, different methods for the soil conservation. Okay, and water conservation in the soil, how it can be done. Okay, in 2015 the government came out with the soil health card scheme. So there was a question, current affair based question. Okay, so all the methods for the soil conservation should be done, at least if not in good detail, then at least one liner should be known. Okay, not many questions have been asked in last 4-5 years. So there were like 2-3 questions. Okay, so we'll do this topic accordingly. First we'll try to do the basics, then we'll do the soil degradation, and then soil conservation. Okay, so the formation of the soil basically takes place when the weathering of the parent material takes place. Okay, and whatever is the mineral in the parent rock, the same material will be available in the soil. So there are several factors, that is parent material, the local climatical condition, they play an important role in weathering. If the thermal contrast is more, that is summer may it is very hot, winter may it is very cold, thermal contrast, because of that cracking will take place, it will assist in the further weathering. Then plants and animals, they play an important role. Okay, in adding the humus content in the soil. Relief, that is topography, along the hilly area the soil formation is faster as compared to the plain areas. Okay, then time is very important factor. More the time taken, more will be the final quality of soil. Soil the soil are basically having different minerals, different characteristic, and this is due to several reasons. The soil profile is basically studying of the topmost layer of the soil till the bottom layer. So the topmost layer of the soil, that is O horizon layer, mainly consists of undecomposed or partially composed litter such as leaves, needles, twigs, mosses, etc. And the lower layer, that is the A horizon, mainly consists of organic matter. These are mainly decomposed one, and the layer is mainly depleted of the iron, clay, aluminium, organic compound, because these minerals usually they percolate down, they elevate down. Okay, E horizon indicates zone of elevation. Okay, elevated horizon, wherein the iron, clay, aluminium oxide have been leached down. Okay, and what is left is quartz, sand, silt. This is left out. Then B horizon, the minerals which is percolated down will ultimately be available over here. So B horizon is the elevation, and it receives these elements, okay, which is percolated down. So it is having excess of these minerals, and this region have deficiency of those minerals. Okay, then C horizon, they consist of weathered parent material, okay, some unbroken rocks also, and the R horizon of the bedrock mainly consists of the parent material which is not broken. Okay, soil properties, soil have different color because of different mineral present. Soil have different pH value, it can be acidic or alkaline, and too much acidity or alkalinity is not good for the vegetation. Soil nutrients, soil have air, soil have water, soil have some solid nutrients. In the air it have carbon dioxide and oxygen. See, the amount of carbon present in the soil is more than the carbon dioxide present in the air. Okay, so it is not just a little bit, it is sufficient enough. Water, which is hydrogen, oxygen. Soil also have solid nutrients. These nutrients are macronutrients, micronutrients. Macronutrients are the one which is available in large quantity, and this is mainly absorbed by the plants for their growth. These are nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, and sulfur. On the other hand, there are some micronutrients also, that is boron, chlorine, iron, manganese, copper, etc. And ideal ratio for this macronutrient, that is NPK, for the Indian soil is 4:1. Okay, now because of excessive usage of this fertilizer, this macronutrient balance is being disturbed, and that is the reason why soil health card scheme came. Soil texture is basically the roughness or the smoothness of the soil grain. When the soil is very, very rough, that is having the size from 0.05 to 5 millimeter, it is the sandy soil. Okay, sandy soil, pure sandy soil is not preferred for the agriculture, because irrigation is very, very difficult. Then silt soil have the size of 0.02 to 0.05. Okay, this is relatively better quality soil. Then clay soil is the one which is having the grains smaller than that of 0.002 millimeter, and they are very, very closely packed, and these soil, the percolation of the water is very, very difficult. These soil are heavy also. Loamy soil are the one which is having mixture of all of these. So the soil which is having mixture of all of these is considered as the best quality soil. So loamy soil is basically preferred for the cultivation purpose. This soil classification earlier was either the fertile soil or infertile soil. Fertile soil was Urvara and sterile soil was Usara. And the American taxonomy does the classification more scientifically into pedalfers and pedocals. Pedalfers are acidic soil. Pedalfers are acidic soil. They are mainly found in the humid condition, high rainfall condition. Okay, high rainfall condition, acidic soil. So what happens in this region is because of this heavy rainfall, the water percolates down, and with the percolation of this water, what happens is the nutrients, that is the calcium and other minerals, they also leach down. So this soil is deficient in calcium because of percolation, because of leaching down of the water. Okay, so these are alkaline in nature. Alkaline material goes down, what is left is acidic material. So they are acidic in nature. Okay, ash gray soil, gray brown soil, laterite soil, red and yellow soil fall under the category of pedalfers. Okay, pedocals are alkaline soil. They are mainly found in the arid condition where the rate of evaporation is more, precipitation is less. So when the evaporation is more, so groundwater rises upward, comes to the surface and then evaporate. So when they are rising upward, along with the water, even the nutrients is being carried upward. Okay, nutrients is being carried upward. These nutrients are mainly the mineral salt or the calciums or the sodium chloride. Okay, so these mineral rises upward. Okay, mineral remain on the top layer of the soil, water evaporates. So pedocals are those soil which is having rich or excess of these minerals. So they are mainly alkaline in nature. Okay, too much of alkalinity, too much of acidity is bad for the soil. Example of pedocals are black soil and desert soil. Okay, now Indian Council of Agriculture Research, they have classified the Indian soil into following categories: alluvial soil, black cotton soil, red soil, laterite, mountainous forest soil, arid or desert soil, saline alkaline soil, and peaty and the marshy soil. So we just saw the question. There was question on black soil, there was question on red soil, there was question on laterite soil. On other soil, the question have not been asked, but you should be doing it all in detail. So the best way to do this is just make a table, or another better way to do this is make one map of India and just plot all of these soil, regionally, and just write the characteristic there itself. So what characteristic can be written? You should be writing features of that soil, minerals that is present in the soil, and the crops that can be grown. Features of that soil with respect to the color. Okay, minerals, there are some minerals which is sufficiently available, some minerals is deficient in nature, and crops that can be sown, that can be grown in the soil, and the miscellaneous point. So for example, alluvial soil. So alluvial soil in the case of India is covering the largest part of the India, and this is one of the most fertile soil also. As we have studied plains of India, so Indian plains have basically 4 categories: Bhabat, Rai, Bangar and Khaddar. So Bangar and Khaddar are the alluvial soil. Bangar is old alluvial soil, Khaddar is the new alluvial soil. So alluvial soil cover 40% area of the India, mainly the northern plains, the river valleys and the delta region. And this soil is basically formed because of deposition, mainly by the rivers. And it has sandy soil also and clayey soil also. This is mainly light grey to ash grey in color. Okay. Important mineral, that is potash, is found, but phosphorus is not there. Majority of the crops can be grown here. Black soil. Black soil is found in the Deccan region, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, Kathiawar Peninsula and Tamil Nadu. They are mainly clay in nature, and they are not permeable. Okay, they are rich in lime, ferrous, magnesium, aluminium, potash, but they are poor in phosphorus, nitrogen, organic matter, etc. Crops mainly that is grown is cotton and the sugarcane. They are very ideal for the growth of the cotton. So also they are known as cotton soil or the regor soil or the self-plowing soil, because cracks is being developed in the soil because they hold the moisture during the daytime, and the nighttime they release because it is a black. So black is a good absorber of the heat. Red and yellow soil. So red and yellow soil are found in those regions having low rainfall, mainly in the southern parts of the Deccan Plateau, Odisha and Chhattisgarh. It is red because of the presence of the iron, and when the water is added, this redness decreases, it becomes yellow. They are fine grained and they are like coarse grain also. Fine grain one is more fertile, coarse grain one is relatively infertile. They are poor in phosphorus, nitrogen and humus, and with the addition of these fertilizer, some crops can be grown. Laterite soil are found in those regions where there is very heavy rainfall. Laterite soil, intense leaching of the nutrients have taken place, and these nutrients they percolate down, so the laterite soil is left with more of acidic kind of soil. Okay, so most of the lime, silica, humus content they percolate down. What is left over is ferrous oxide and aluminium. For that purpose, it is known as feral soil. Because of the ferrous oxide, it is red in color. Laterite soil is red in color, and laterite soil in these regions, laterite soil, they are very hard, and these soil is used for making bricks, red bricks, which is relatively big and huge and heavy, and they are used for the construction purpose. They are rich in ferrous, aluminium and potash, and they are poor in phosphate, nitrogen, calcium and humus content. Few crops like cashew nut, tapioca can grow. Okay, mainly used for the bricks formation. Arid soil are found in those regions where the temperature is very high, rate of evaporation is high, precipitation is less. Okay, they are red to brown in color, they are sandy and saline in nature, mainly having this conker. Calcium content is relatively high because of evaporation. Okay, because of capillary action, these will rise up, so they are mainly alkaline in nature. Okay, they are poor in nitrogen, humus, phosphate and organic matter, but they are rich in calcium. Saline soil are found in the arid and semi-arid region, where also the waterlogged swampy region in the Gujarat and the Sundarban region. They are mainly sterile, they are not fertile enough. Okay, and the soil may become, even a fertile soil may become infertile because of excessive irrigation. Okay, so they are rich in sodium, okay, calcium, magnesium, but they are poor in nitrogen and this is potash, and they are poor in nitrogen and calcium. Saline soil is basically not preferred for cultivation of the crops. For that, salinity has to be reduced first. Then peaty soil. Peaty soil Peat soil is basically, peat is what? It is basically the humus, okay, the dead remains of these vegetations. So this region having very high rainfall, very high humidity, have this kind of soil. They are mainly black in color. They are quite heavy because of the humus content. They are alkaline. They are rich in the organic matter, but with the other matter they are deficient. Then montane or forest soil. They are mainly found in the forest region. And here what happens is the leaves have this acidic content. When the leaves fall down, they increase the soil acidity. They are poor in the humus content. Orchards, some flowers and some fruits can be grown in this soil. Okay, so mainly if you go to the Himalayas, you will get to see this flowers and the fruits, some limited fruits that is growing there. Now, with respect to the problems associated with the soil, desertification is a major problem. Desertification of the soil is taking place because of the deforestation. Because of deforestation, what happens is when the deforestation happens, the precipitation decreases, evaporation increases, and because of that, the groundwater table rises upward and it will evaporate. It will evaporate at the same time. It will be carrying the important nutrients and it will be left over on the surface, and these nutrients are mainly alkaline in nature, so it will increase the soil alkalinity. Okay, at the same time the soil, the groundwater table will also be decreasing. So such region where the forest was there, it indicated that the soil quality was good. When the deforestation is done, this soil become infertile. So for the to maintain the soil health, it is very important that the afforestation program should be taken. Excessive use of the fertilizers, excessive use of the nitrogenous fertilizer increases the acidity of the soil. Again, that soil become infertile and acidic in nature. Okay, soil degradation. Soil degradation also takes place because of soil degradation also takes place because of also takes place because of the weathering. Okay, now soil salinity we have just understood, soil alkalinity, soil acidity, soil desertification, soil erosion. Now soil erosion needs to be understood because there was one question related to this. Soil erosion can be natural also. So soil erosion is a natural plus man-made process. The soil erosion, so when the rain falls, when the soil is bare, when the soil surface is like the vegetation is being cut down, so it is very easy for the rain to hit the soil, and a splash will happen. Because of that, it will hit the surface of the soil like a bullet and splash erosion will start. When the rainfall, definitely the surface water will be flowing. Along with that, it is going to erode the top layer of the soil. Sheet erosion will take place, and this rain water will form small rills. Okay, like this, cracks will be developed on the surface, and rill erosion, these cracks will become the bigger cracks. It is the gully erosion. Now gully erosion is very difficult to manage. Okay, rill erosion at least can be managed by, again, tilling of the soil, but gully erosion is like kind of permanent problem. And stream bank erosion, again along the rivers, when the river management is not proper, stream bank erosion can take place. Okay. Now soil conservation, how can the soil be conserved? So soil conservation can be done by planting the trees, afforestation, by terrace cultivation, by zero tilling, by contour ploughing, rotation of the crops, maintaining the pH of the soil. So contour ploughing is basically you can understand this with the help of this so step farming or terrace farming. In this, the slope is very prone to erosion, so this slope can be altered, okay, into a step-like structure, slope of the mountain. So this step-like structure is known as the step farming or the terrace farming, and here the soil erosion can be prevented. This region can be used for the paddy cultivation, which is water intensive. Okay, contour bunding over here, slope is not altered. So along the slope only the vegetation is being cultivated. Here this again prevents erosion to a greater extent. No till or zero tillage. See, usually what happens is when the tilling is being done, soil become loose, and loose soil is prone to erosion. Okay, so when the tilling is not done, zero tillage. Okay, zero tillage, just application of the this water, irrigating the field with the water, so it will minimize the need of the fertilizers and all, because when the tilling is done, it's not only the soil that is become loose, the carbon that is present in the soil, that will be lost, the nitrogen present in the soil, that will be lost, the moisture present in the soil, that will be lost. So definitely you need to add fertilizer and more of moisture. So no tillage, minimum tillage, zero tillage are very advantageous for the soil conservation. It also help in the water conservation in the soil. Okay, then crop residues when the crop is being cut down, so definitely the top layer of the soil is exposed and it is prone to erosion. So what can be done is the crop residues can be just keep or laid over the soil top layer, so that it is prevented from the wind erosion. So this process is known as mulching, that is covering the top layer of the soil by the crop residues. Then synthetic fertilizer, which was an important reason for this soil erosion or the degradation of the soil. Synthetic fertilizer should be judiciously used. We cannot ultimately eliminate the synthetic fertilizer, but yes, synthetic fertilizer should be judiciously used, followed by the organic fertilizer. Crop rotation like leguminous plant, then the non-leguminous plant, then leguminous plant again. So in this case, non-leguminous plant like paddy, paddy cultivation basically it degrades the soil to a greater extent. To conserve the soil back again in the next season when the pulses is grown, so the pulses does the nitrogen fixation, because they have this nitrogen fixing bacteria in the roots. Okay, so they will do the nitrogen fixation, so no need to add additional fertilizer. They will restore the soil fertility. Again, when the non-leguminous plant is being done, so they will be requiring less amount of the fertilizers, because that work is already being done by the leguminous plant. Okay, so likewise mixed cropping also, it will help in the soil conservation. It will also help in minimizing the risk management in the agriculture. In order to help the farmers with respect to the soil conservation, the government came up with the soil health card scheme in 2015. And here this Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare came up with this scheme. And over here, like a blood report that we get indicating different the parameters. So over here 12 nutrients, this report card will have 12 nutrients, and the values of these nutrients will be indicated in that report. And on the basis of what is excess, what is deficient, okay, the farmer would be suggested what type of fertilizers and what type of soil, what type of crops that can be grown in the soil. This testing has to be done every 3 years, once in 3 years, and the detailed report will help the farmer to take the decision judiciously. And this will also help the government in order to maintain the availability of the fertilizer, in order to restore the disbalance that have taken place because of subsidized urea. Okay, so soil related conservation effort can be asked, or soil related degradation can be asked. Okay, now we are done with the Indian geography also, wherein we did the geographical extent of India, Indian physiography, drainage system of India, the Indian climate, and followed by the Indian biomes, and now the soil. Now is the time that we should do economic geography. Few topics of the economic geography should be done. As such, economic geography is very, very important from economy perspective, because most of the questions are policy oriented. Okay, policy oriented. From the geography perspective, very less question is being asked. From economy perspective, more number of questions will be asked from topics like agriculture, then industries, then minerals and resources, and infrastructure. Okay, in the recent year, it is seen that some questions were asked from the minerals and resources, especially because they were there in the news. As such, those areas are preferred only when the current affair is there. Student may not need to go too much into the detail from geography perspective. The economy perspective would be more than sufficient. So here with agriculture, agriculture is very multi-dimensional topic, and it is spread over various other subjects also. So agriculture, first let us do the analysis of the various dimensions on which the questions can come on the agriculture. The questions on agriculture have been asked from the geography, from the economy perspective, from the environment and ecology, and also the science and technology. So basically it is a multi-subject topic basically. Now, if you look into the various dimensions, like for example economy, mainly the policy related questions have been asked. From environment and ecology, mainly the sustainable agriculture methods, agriculture conservation, and environmental degradation, and that is impacting the agriculture, that type of question. Science and technology, nature of the question on science and technology is basically the technological solution for the agriculture. So it is mainly from the biotechnology perspective, the hybrid seeds, fertilizers, okay, and also the nanotechnology, use of technology mission in irrigation methods. Okay, so those type of questions can be asked from the science and technology perspective. Now from the geography, very little scope. Geography, that is mainly the natural perspective. From that dimension the questions will come. So let us first understand the agriculture, various dimensions of the agriculture, and then we will proceed ahead with the geographical aspect. So what is the backward linkage? What is the input that is needed in the agriculture? Is there are some natural inputs like soil, water, sunlight, microorganisms and seeds, and some man-made input like the technology, for example the tractor, other tools are needed, and policy related input is more important, like crop insurance, credit facilities, the subsidies, minimum support price, the labor law, wage law, the research and development facilities, the agriculture universities, then the soil testing facility, land reforms, energy, that is fuel, diesel basically that is used to run the pumps, electricity that is used to run the pumps, contract farming. Okay, so there is a lot of backward linkage on the agriculture. And after the production, when the agro product needs to be sold, there is again human intervention needed in the form of technology, that is harvester, threshers, cold storage facilities, tractors for the transportation, food processing industries. In fact, in food processing industries there were mains question. Then related to policy, that after the harvesting market is needed. Yes, market, for example this APMC Mandi. So this is very, very important. And recently, before this COVID, there was issues related to amendment of this APMC Act, then procurement policy, then export and the import policy, public distribution system, the PDS system, then the Food Corporation of India. Then on one hand, we have this minimum support price, and then there is this procurement price. Okay, the procurement price can be more than MSP but not less than MSP. Okay, then in order to prevent the inflation, food inflation, hoarding and cartelization policy, and inflation policy to control the food inflation. So basically these this is the various dimension of the agriculture, and one must study each of these dimensions. None of this needs to be left out, because UPSC have asked question from all. Yes, from all of these area UPSC have asked question. Now from the geography perspective, it is basically the soil, water, sunlight, microorganism, seeds, which is quite important. The rest others are important, but these are mainly from policy perspective, science and technology, and environment. So here our focus, since we have already covered soil, we will do water resources and the subsequent topic. Then the availability of the sunlight, we already know where the sunlight availability is more or less. We have studied this in the climatology. So here with respect to agriculture, the cropping pattern becomes a little important. UPSC have asked question on the dry land, on permaculture and the dry land farming. Okay, organic farming. Okay, even the micro-irrigation methods question have been asked. So with respect to this agriculture, we have seen some physical, technical, economic factor, the government policy that governs the agricultural cropping pattern. Now, dry land farming. See, basically there is a different agriculture pattern. There is monocropping or the polyculture. There is mixed farming. All of these are too fundamental, and just by one reading it is easy to understand. Now these are some area which is more sustainable and more talked in the news, and since India is a monsoon region, so where the rainfall is not throughout the year, so we have to come up with those farming techniques which can be like sustainable even during the non-monsoon type. And those regions, there are several regions in India also where the rainfall is not sufficient enough, so in those cases also we have to look into agriculture aspects. So dry land farming can be promoted in those regions. So what is dry land farming? So it is basically the farming associated with the subhumid to the arid conditions. Subhumid to the arid condition where there is not sufficient amount of the water. Irrigation facilities is also not very strongly developed, and mainly the reliability is on the monsoon, and monsoon itself is not surplus in those regions. So these are those crops which already needs less amount of the water, less need of fertilizer, and in those cases hybridization of those seeds is not very much required. So for example, coarse grain, millets, oil seeds, pulses, etc. So these are those crops which can be grown in the subhumid to the arid condition. What is the method for the dry land farming? Is conservation of water. So for that the weeds should be removed. For that basic tilling should be done. Deep tilling should not be done because that will lose away the moisture in the soil. Weed removal is very, very important because weeds is going to eat away the soil nutrients, and then it will necessitate the need of the fertilizers. Okay, so also there is a need to prevent the water runoff and soil erosion, because if that is happening, again water requirement and fertilizer need will increase. So dry land farming is basically dependent upon the rainfall. This is mainly practiced in those regions which is prone to that of the drought. Over here monocropping is basically followed because varieties of the crops cannot be grown. Crop yield in these areas are relatively lesser. So what type of crops is suitable? Some crops like grapes, tomatoes, pumpkins, beans, wheat, corn, millet. Millet is very, very important because it is associated with a lot of minerals, fibers, carbohydrates, and millet is also significant from the point of view of nature, environment. Less water, less of fertilizer is needed, and the pest attack on the millet is almost negligible. So pesticide, insecticides, fungicides, all of those requirement is also very, very less. It is useful for the human health, it is useful for the environment, it is useful for the farmer, government, everyone. So growing millet is would be a win-win situation for all the sectors, all the sectors of the economy. For this advantage, 2023 was declared as the International Year of Millet, which was also a mains question. Okay, so you may expect a question this year in the prelims. Advantage of the millets, type of millets, etc. Okay. Crops like wheat, maize, beans, sunflower, watermelons, all of these can be grown. Now, what is permaculture? Permaculture is students usually try to break the term permanent agriculture. So it is not permanent agriculture, it is planned system of farming and habitation. Planned system of farming and habitation, wherein there is interdependency and sustainability of natural ecosystem. So permaculture is not talking about only the organic farming. Permaculture says planned system of farming, which means there is a use of irrigation, hybrid seeds, or even the fertilizers, but in a very judicious manner. So as compared to that of intensive agriculture, intensive agriculture makes the soil very, very infertile over a period of time because of excessive use of fertilizer and irrigation. Permaculture, since it is planned, it is relatively a superior method of farming. The goal of the permaculture is to maximize the usage of the land, that is to increase the efficiency of the land, and this can be done with the help of judicious use of the organic farming, agroforestry, compost, mulching, integrated farming, sustainable development, and applied ecology. Let us try to understand some of these terms over here. Integrated system means one farming system is supporting the another one. Okay, productive ecosystem, and permaculture is basically used in any ecosystem. Now, dryland farming was applicable in the subhumid and the arid area. This is applicable to any ecosystem. The traditional knowledge and experience adds to the value and validation of the permaculture. Sustainable agriculture practices and land management technique and from the world over can be incorporated. It is a good link between the traditional and emerging new techniques of agriculture. It is basically, it advocates for pesticide free, mainly talks about the organic one. The objective is to maximize the usage of the land. It advocates for pesticide free, but it also advocates for the fertilizer free, but that is just an advocation. It in reality, to make a region 100% organic with a very high demand for the food is little challenging. Some common permaculture practices are agroforestry. So usually the agroforestry along with that of agriculture would be supporting the livestock. Okay, would also prevent the soil erosion. It also advocates for the rainwater harvesting. Cell grazing. Cell grazing is basically grazing by the animal in like parts. So it's not grazing the whole region all at a time. Like if today if the grazing is done in one region, then tomorrow the grazing should be done in the other region, then the other region, because one of the environmental threat is overgrazing. Overgrazing is one of the environmental threat. Okay, then sheet mulching. We have already used this term before. Mulching is basically covering the top layer of the soil with the crop residue so that moisture loss can be prevented from the soil. Minimum tillage or zero tillage, we already know the advantage of this. It prevents moisture, it prevents carbon, nitrogen, which is trapped in the soil. And intercropping and companion farming, that is one agriculture method is helping the another agriculture method. It is also talking about integrated farming, wherein, like for example, domestication of the animals and let us say fisheries. So the cow dung of the animal cattle can be directly used as the feedstock for the fisheries. Okay, so the output of one can be used as the input of some other, so both will be benefited. Now, similarly, that cow dung can also be used in the directly in the agricultural field. Natural farming. Now, natural farming, natural farming basically talks about chemical free farming. Okay, chemical free farming, so nature based farming basically. Okay, so whatever is available in nature, whatever is available on farm, the usage of the same for the agriculture purpose is this natural farming. It basically talks about agroecology based diversified farming. The objective is to reduce the dependency on purchased input. Natural based farming talks about on farm biomass recycling, whatever is available in the farm, usage of that. For example, cow dung, cow urine, okay, to be used as a fertilizer instead of using synthetic fertilizer. What are the components of the natural farming? Beej Mitra, Beej Amrit. Beej Amrit is basically the usage of the seeds, okay, which is available in the farm. Then Jeev Mitra, Jeev is life. Life is basically the usage of this microorganisms enhancing the soil productivity by the nitrogen fixing bacteria. Mulching, that is covering the topsoil with the crop residues. And Vapasa is basically a mixture of 50% air and 50% water in the cavity between the soil particles. So in this way, what will happen is the water retention in the soil will increase and the need for excess of irrigation can be minimized. The plant protection is to be done by the following methods. Neemastra, that is usage of the neem to kill the insects or the larvae. Then Brahmastra, usage of the natural insecticides. Agniastra, usage of the natural pesticides. Dasha Parni, Ark or Kashya, that is basically a substitute for the Neemastra, Brahmastra and Agniastra, and it is used to control most of the type of the pest and used depending on the level of infestation. Fungicide fungicide is to be prepared with the cow's milk and the cow's curd. So in these way, the plant protection has to be done using neem, okay, natural insecticide, natural pesticides, okay, then Dashyaparni Ark or Kashya, and fungus. This fungicide is to be prepared using the cow's milk or curd. Natural farming is basically good because it will be reducing the usage of the chemicals in the food, okay, and the same can be reflected in the human health because of the usage of the fertilizers, insecticide, pesticides. You see these days there is an increasing incidence of health hazards like the gastrointestinal failure, kidney failure, cancers. Okay, so this can be a solution for that. But what is the challenge? What is the issues with the natural farming is natural farming, the productivity is relatively very less. Natural farming used to be done in the past, but demand increased over a period of time because of the increasing population, and in that case doing completely the natural farming is in the present stage is still not very well developed. It is still in the nascent stage. Okay, natural farming, the awareness related to natural farming is relatively very less. There is a poor extension of natural farming, the missing link between the supply and the demand of the quality seeds, quality plant propagation material, and the institutional credit. Okay, all of these are very less. Then it basically supports the monocropping system. It is expected that instead of reducing the cost of the cultivation, it may increase because natural farming productivity will be less, and in that case if the demand is high, supply is less, it will cause inflation. Okay, inflation, and in that case this can be more expensive. Natural farming and organic farming. See, natural farming, the difference between the two is natural farming do not talk about use of fertilizer, whereas organic farming talks about use of organic fertilizer. Okay, natural farming says no ploughing, no tilling, no weeding, no pesticide, no herbicide, no pruning. Okay, on the other hand, it talks about the basic practices like ploughing, tilling, taking out the weeds, Okay, so that weeds don't eat away the nutrients in the soil. Then apart from this natural manure, it talks about the decomposition of organic matter by microbes and the earthworms. And over here, organic farming manures like compost, vermicompost are to be used on the farmland. Natural farming is not very much regulated. It means you don't have to keep on checking the crop productivity. Nature will take care of it. Over here, organic farming, specific guidelines, regulations that is to be followed. Okay, here natural farming is a least cost farming method. Organic farming can be relatively expensive, okay, as compared to the natural farming. So the basic difference is, over here nature will take care, and over here the human intervention is still needed. Then there are several irrigation methods. Previously, well, tube well, canal and tank irrigation was very dominant. In the recent year, there is an increasing demand for the drip and the sprinkler irrigation, especially for countries which is lacking the sufficient amount of water. Drip irrigation is very, very important. Drip irrigation and sprinklers are basically micro irrigation. For a country already facing scarcity of the water, this can be a big boon. So drip irrigation over here in this, it is basically a technology oriented irrigation method, wherein with the help of the pipes, okay, the pipe is directly connected to the roots of the plants. The water is supplied directly to the roots, so that it can prevent the excess usage of the water, and water use efficiency can be increased. Okay, in this drip irrigation, what more can be done is fertilizers, the liquid fertilizer can also be added. So fertilizer plus irrigation, that is fertigation. So usage of the water and usage of fertilizer, the efficiency can be increased. In the flood irrigation, what happens is, apart from the water that is needed by the plants, even the non-useful plants like weeds, okay, they consume those resources like water and nutrients, and they grow up, thereby increasing the demand for the weedy side. Okay, so in drip irrigation, some advantage that can be seen is field leveling is not needed. Recycled non-potable water can be used. Water use efficiency can be increased. Soil erosion and weed growth can be reduced. But what is the challenge with the drip irrigation is, it is expensive. Okay, it is cost ineffective. Here the demand of the question says, what are the advantages of practicing drip irrigation? Reduction in weed, reduction in soil salinity, reduction in soil erosion. We saw the advantages: reduction in soil erosion, reduction in the weeds, not the reduction in the soil salinity. Okay, so don't get carried away that it is going to reduce the soil salinity also. It will not reduce the soil salinity. See, soil salinity is something associated with the chemicals. Okay, soil salinity can be reduced with the help of gypsum. Okay, gypsum can be applied to reduce soil salinity, not the drip irrigation method. Now, sprinkler irrigation, again, this is also one of the you must have observed this. This is also one of the micro irrigation methods. Okay, again, the objective is conservation of the water. Over here, the overall micro irrigation related question is asked. So you can see, with reference to micro irrigation, which one of the following statement is correct? So fertilizer and nutrient loss can be reduced. Yes. Then it is the only means of irrigation in dryland farming? No, it is not the only means. It is one of the important means, but not the only means. In some areas of farming, receding of the groundwater table can be checked. Yes, groundwater, which is extensively fetched out for the irrigation purpose, that groundwater demand or the requirement of the water in the micro irrigation is anyways less, and the depleting groundwater table can be prevented. Okay, so this is also correct. Okay. So second statement is only wrong. It is not the only means of irrigation. Other means of irrigation can also be practiced in the dryland farming. And in fact, in dryland farming, the major dependency is not on irrigation. It is dependent upon the rainfall. So that is anyways wrong. This is what I was talking about, usage of the fertilizer in the irrigation method itself. Okay, that is fertigation. So there are several advantages of this. The fertilizer can be directly supplied to the roots of the plant, so it is more precise and more specific area can be targeted. Okay, and with this the uptake of the uptake of the fertilizer by the plants, that can be increased. The plant do not have to take extra effort in absorbing this from the nearby soil region. Then when the appropriate amount of fertilizer is used by the plant, then the excess fertilizer requirement can be reduced. Okay, this can also prevent in the water conservation. It can also save time, labor, energy. It can also reduce soil erosion and water usage, and it can enhance the productivity. But what is the challenge? Again, the challenge is it is cost ineffective. It is relatively more expensive. So advantage of fertigation: controlling the alkalinity of the irrigation water is possible. Yes, because you will not be using excess of this fertilizer. Second, efficient application of rock, phosphate and all other phosphatic fertilizer is possible. See, fertigation is a method wherein drip irrigation is used. Drip irrigation and liquid fertilizer. So rock, phosphate and all other phosphatic fertilizer can be used. This is wrong. Increase availability of nutrients to the plant is possible. Yes. Reduction in the leaching of the chemical nutrients is possible. Yes. Excess of the nutrients at times they leach down and they go to the groundwater, thereby contaminating the groundwater. So with this, excess fertilizer can be reduced, and leaching of the chemical nutrients to the ground can also be reduced. A very nice question. Look into this question. Which of the following practice can help water conservation in the agriculture? Reduce or zero tillage. Can it prevent water conservation? Yes. Second, allowing gypsum before irrigating the field. See, application of gypsum will be helpful in reducing the soil salinity and soil alkalinity, and not water conservation. Third, allowing crop residue to remain in the field. Yes, crop residues, that is mulching. Okay, that will help in the water conservation, right? Okay, fertilizers now. Fertilizers are of basically two types, organic and the inorganic one. Organic fertilizers are the agriculture waste, livestock manure, industrial waste like steel slag. Yes, steel slag, then copper slag. These are also used because there are several nutrients available in that can be used in the fertilizer. There can be some impurities also, some pollutants also. Those needs to be checked. Okay, municipal sludge can also be used in the organic fertilizer. Inorganic fertilizer, basically the synthetic or the chemical fertilizer. These are nitrogen based, phosphorus based, or the potash based. Okay, now these fertilizers is there in the news, especially because of the nutrient based subsidy scheme. Okay, what is this nutrient based subsidy scheme? So this subsidy scheme needs to be understood from the policy perspective, that is economy. And since it is there in the news and government is talking something about this suspension of this nutrient based subsidy scheme, suspending. Okay, so the main reason is because synthetic fertilizer, since it is, especially the nitrogen based fertilizer, since it is very much subsidized, cheaply available, so farmers is using excess of this fertilizer because it is cheap, in a hope that more fertilizer will lead to more production, but it is rather adding to the more problems in the soil by degrading the soil. So in order to conserve the soil, the subsidy that is given on the nutrient, that is to be suspended, so that these fertilizer will be available at the market rate, and it will become relatively expensive, and farmer will be using less of this fertilizer. Okay, so the objective is to prevent the extra or the irrational use of the urea, nitrogen based fertilizer. So just look into the nutrient based subsidy scheme. It is not something new. It is since a long time, like more than 15 years, and it is there in the news because government is talking about suspending it. Organic fertilizer. Organic fertilizer can be organic compost, cattle manures, poultry dropping, etc. Basically, they are biofertilizers and organic manure. What is this organic manure? It refers to partially decomposed organic matter, like the digestate from the biogas plants, the compost or the vermicompost. Okay, which provides nutrition to the soil. So these are basically the partially decomposed organic matter. that is organic manure. And compost, what is this compost? Is basically the fertilizer that is created out of the decomposition of the organic matter on a natural basis. Okay, naturally the bacteria will act upon the dead remains of plants and animals and it will degrade it. Okay, but this is relatively a slow phenomenon. It will take relatively longer time. In order to accelerate this rate of decomposition, earthworms can be added. Okay, and this will make the composting relatively faster. So that compost obtained because of the addition of the earthworm is the vermicompost. Biofertilizer, bio is life and living organism being used as a fertilizer. What are these living organisms? Bacteria, algae and fungus. Okay, basically they will be doing the fixation of the atmospheric nitrogen. Okay, and it will solubilize phosphorus, it will decompose organic matter, so it will do multiple functions. These biofertilizers are rhizobium, then azospirillum, then azobacter and blue-green algae. Rhizobium is basically found in the root nodules of the leguminous plants. Okay, the objective is to fix the nitrogen. Azobacter, they are freely living nitrogen fixing bacteria that is usually found in the soil. They will promote the growth hormones of the plants. Azospirillum, again this is found in the soil. Okay, freely living nitrogen fixing bacteria present in the soil. They will increase the crop productivity by increasing the growth hormones. Blue-green algae, they are example like nostoc and anabina. They are also freely living microorganisms that is present in the soil. Mainly in the flooded rice field, these are found. Now, blue-green algae is very, very important. Okay, excess of the blue-green algae can also be problematic, especially in the water bodies. This is going on in the news, nano fertilizer. Nano fertilizer or nano urea. So basically it is not something related to like a very small fertilizer, but yes, it is a nanotechnology based fertilizer wherein it is the 4% of the nitrogen that is encapsulated in the nitrogen analogues. Okay, and the same is administered in the soil. So nano fertilizer is basically a kind of the capsules, okay, having the 4% of the nitrogen, which is relatively non-toxic. It is safe for the users and safe for the plants, flora and the fauna. So it is basically more environment friendly. Okay, and over here it is the only nano fertilizer that is currently approved by the government. It is developed and patented by IFFCO. Okay, so nano fertilizer, just remember 2-3 points. It is a nanotechnology based agri input that provides nitrogen to the plants. Okay, urea, since it is a urea, so certainly urea is a nitrogenous based fertilizer. It contains 4% of the nitrogen. This is a place where UPSC may give some irrational data and try to frame the statement. So it is the liquid fertilizer, contains 4% of nitrogen, which is encapsulated nitrogen analogues. It is approved by the government. It is developed and patented by IFFCO. So these basic things will help you. Neem coated urea, this is not something new. This was introduced way back in 2015 because of urea. Urea is a nitrogen based fertilizer. So nitrate pollution was increasing. Okay, nitrate pollution was increasing, and nitrate is a persistent organic pollutants. So bioaccumulation and biomagnification was happening. It was entering the the entire food chain. It was impacting soil, it was impacting water, it was impacting the human health. So in order to slow down the rate of dissolution of this urea into the soil, the urea was neem coated. Okay, it will slow down the rate of dissolution of the urea in the soil, thereby preventing the nitrate pollution. Okay, 2015 this question was there. So the question is, why does the government of India promotes the use of neem coated urea in agriculture? So it says that option B, neem coating urea slows down the rate of dissolution of urea in the soil. Also there was a problem related to the misuse or the illegal trading of the these are subsidized fertilizer, and this is in demand not only in the agricultural field. This is also demanded in several chemical industries like paints industries, detergent industries. So in order to prevent the illegal trading of these urea, neem coating of the urea was done, and this neem coating of the urea reduced, but over a period of time it was seen that the illegal trading have increased again. Okay, so for that purpose it is there in the news again. Crops. Now this is the area where most of the geography related question comes. The crops are basically there are several bases of classification of the crops. Crops are classified on the basis of seasons, on the basis of the economic value. So on the basis of the season, crops are classified as Kharif, Rabi and the Zaid crop. You already know about this. Kharif is basically the monsoon crop. Rabi is irrigated crops, mainly from November to February, March. And Zaid is irrigated crop, mainly in the month of March to June, or the very hot summer time. Okay. Kharif crops like paddy, jawar, bajra, maize, millet, soybean, tea, coffee, rubber, cotton. Okay. On the other hand, Rabi crops is wheat, barley, gram, mustard, oats. Okay. And Zaid crops are pumpkin, cucumber, bitter gourd, etc. Now, some quite simple, easy question were asked with respect to which of the following are the Kharif crops. But the recent trend of the question will not be that simple. Now, you're supposed to do this individual crops, especially the very important crops consumed by the Indians, and these crops should be done in the following parameters. Like, you should be knowing what is the climatical condition needed for such crop, that is temperature and rainfall, what is the type of soil that is needed, and in which region are they produced. Okay, that is the distribution wise, and one or two miscellaneous point. So for example, paddy is a Kharif crop. It needs an average temperature 22 to 32, rainfall, it needs a very high rainfall 150 to 300 centimeter. It needs deep cloy soil or the loamy soil, and production wise West Bengal rank first. This production may change from the India yearbook. You can see the latest ranking. Okay. Now, the traditional method of rice cultivation is the first the bare land is prepared, and tilling is being done, loosening of the soil is being done, then the farmland is flooded with the water, then the rice samplings from the nursery is being transplanted with the help of the biofertilizer, especially the blue-green algae. Okay, and because of that the productivity increases. Okay. Traditional method of rice cultivation is also associated with the release of the methane. Okay, so there comes the system of rice intensification. So this is a method wherein the output or the production will be same as that of the traditional method, but input will be less. So it means basically it is a method of increasing the efficiency of the inputs. Okay, system of rice intensification is producing more or equal production as compared to the traditional methods with less usage of the inputs. Inputs are mainly water, seeds and chemicals. Water, seeds and chemical. So it is not talking about chemical free farming. Okay, it is just reducing the investment, reducing the input, increasing the efficiency. So over here ploughing is being done, but it is not flooded. Like traditional method, the flooding is being done. It is not flooded. 10 to 12 days old nursery is being transplanted. Okay, and a favorable environmental condition is created. Okay, there is no specific standard technique that so and so has to be done. Okay, whatever set of idea that is needed for increasing the production, that idea, whole set of idea can be termed as a system of rice intensification, SRI. Twice this question had come in mains as well as in prelims. Wheat. Now wheat is a Rabi crops, less temperature, less rainfall, well-drained, fertile loamy soil is needed. UP rank first in the production. Some miscellaneous point is with respect to the variant of the wheat. Millet, International Year of the Millet is going on, and as we have studied that this is very, very important. So millet is basically the Kharif crops, rainfall, less of the rainfall, and even the inferior quality soil is sufficient. Now, with respect to the crops, jawar, bajra, ragi. Okay, these are important crops that is grown. These are basically the rain-fed crops. Inferior quality of the soil is sufficient. They do not need much of the fertilizer. Distribution-wise, jawar mein Maharashtra rank first, bajra mein Rajasthan rank first. Okay, what are the advantage of this? The advantage of these are having very, very high nutritional value. They're very rich in the iron and calcium. Other micronutrients and roughages are also there. So once people consume this, their gut system would be relatively stronger. Okay. Now, in terms of the food, the jawar is the third most important food crops with respect to the area and the production. So it's not only the case of the India, but in various other African countries, the jawar is grown on a very, very large scale. So input requirement is less. Okay, health wise it is beneficial. That is the reason why India requested United Nations to declare 2023 as the International Year of the Millet, and UN declared it. In the similar way, in 2017, the International Year of pulses was declared. Okay, and there was question in the pulses. Okay, maize, very, very important. Okay, average temperature 21 to 27, rainfall 100 to 150 centimeter rainfall. Old alluvial soil is good for maize. Production wise, Karnataka ranked first and used both as food as well as fodder, and even as a fuel. This ethanol is prepared. Okay, biodiesel can be prepared out of the maize. The maize can be used in production of starch. Yes. The oil extracted from maize can be used as a feedstock for biodiesel. Yes. Alcoholic beverages can be produced by using maize. Yes. All of these are correct. Okay. With respect to the sugarcane is very, very important crop, and some parameters respected to sugarcane. It needs 21 to 27 degrees Celsius temperature, 75 to 150 centimeter rainfall. Very heavy rainfall is for any crop is not good. In majority of the soils, sugarcane can be grown, but for best it is the black soil and even the alluvial soil, but it is also grown in the reddish gloomy soil, and those soil should be rich in the nitrogen, calcium and the phosphorus content. Distribution wise, Satluj Ganga belt, Punjab to Bihar, then black soil belt, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, then coastal belt of the Andhra Pradesh. And here in the case of sugarcane is used as a food as well as in the fodder, as well as for the production of the biofuels. So it is a main source of sugar, gur and khand sari. It is also used in the alcoholic preparation. It is also used in the leftover. The bagasse is used in the making papers. Okay, the bagasse is also used. It is dry. It can be burnt and can be used for the production of energy. Okay, and the molasses can also be used in the production of the ethanol. Okay, so in the recent years, the biofuel policy in India is promoting the usage of this molasses. So the question is over here is usefulness of the byproduct of sugar industry. 1, bagasse can be used as biomass fuel for generation of energy. Yes. Molasses can be used as one of the feedstock for production of synthetic chemical fertilizer. See, this is organic, right? So how it will be used in the producing synthetic chemical fertilizer? Even if it is fertilizer, so it can be organic fertilizer, not the synthetic one, right? And the third one is molasses can be used for the production of ethanol. Yes, molasses is like liquid brown color fluid. Okay, thick fluid, which is a byproduct of sugar, and bagasse is the left dried part of the sugarcane. Molasses is a byproduct of sugar production in the process. Yes. Bagasse obtained by sugar mill is used as a fuel in boilers to generate steam for the sugar factories. Yes, they are burnt and used to generate energy. Sugar can only be produced from sugarcane? No, sugar can be produced from variety of the fruits and vegetables. Pulses temperature relatively 27 to 20 to 27 degrees Celsius, relatively less rainfall, sandy loamy soil, and majority of the crops can be grown in various parts of India. India is one of the largest producer and consumer of the pulses. Pulses is very good in terms of the human health. That is, it is full of proteins, very less cholesterol is there, dietary fiber is very high, it is free from gluten. Okay, it also helps in stabilizing the blood sugar level. Same is with respect to the farmers, since it needs less of fertilizer, soil fertility is maintained, it needs less of water efficiency can be improved, and it can be stored for several months. Okay, then hybridization of this is not needed because production wise it is relatively good. And to the nature, since excess use of the fertilizers, so the hybrid seeds, these are not needed, plus the pulses help in nitrogen fixation, so it helps a very important role in nitrogen cycle. Also, it does not emit greenhouse gases like methane, which is being done by the paddy cultivation. With respect to the tea, yes, tea is a tropical drink grown in 20 to 30 degrees Celsius. It is also subtropical, like it is grown in the tropical region like Nilgiri. It is also grown in subtropical region like the Darjeeling. So it is tropical and subtropical both. Rainfall, it needs very high rainfall. It needs a relatively higher altitude so that the water can drain out. Okay, it needs high rainfall, but water should not stagnate. Okay, water should not stagnate like that of the paddy cultivation. In India, it is visualize that only Nilgiri and Darjeeling, but that is not the case. It is grown in various other parts like Assam, Darjeeling, even in the Tripura it is grown. So in majority of the northeastern states, in the north in Almora, Dehradun, Nainital of Uttarakhand, Kandra and Mandi of Himachal Pradesh. In South Indian, Nilgiri is south mein. It is grown in Nilgiri, Cardamom, Palani Hills in Kerala and Tamil Nadu. There are several varieties of tea. Tea related question was asked by UPSC with respect to the tea producing states. So Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, Himachal Pradesh, even Tripura. Yes, even Tripura. All tea is grown. Cotton, another important crop. It needs 20 to 30. So most of these crops can be grown in 20 to 30 degrees Celsius. It needs rainfall of 50 to 100 centimeter, 210 days of frost-free weather condition. Black soil is best for the cotton cultivation. Maharashtra ranked first in cotton, and the problem with the cotton is it exhausts the fertility of the soil. Okay, in India, short staple and mainly the short staple crop is grown. Here this description is given. The UPSC may ask a question this way also. It may give you a crop and it will ask you what is the agroclimatical condition needed, or it will describe the agroclimatical condition and then they will ask which crop is this. Okay, for example, in this question you can see the question says the crop is subtropical in nature, hard frost is injurious to it, it requires 210 frost-free days and 50 to 100 centimeter rainfall for its growth. Light, well-drained soil capable of retaining moisture is ideally suited for the cultivation of crops. Certainly, it is cotton. Okay. Now, this is very useful map, the agroclimatic zone of India. You can read about this. See, the states of India is basically the political division, okay, done for the administration, for the governance purpose. So the political map of India is basically done by the human. But there is a natural map also, wherein similar climatical conditions, especially with respect to the temperature, precipitation, that is demarcated. So nature also divides the region on the basis of the physiography, the topography, okay, and a certain set of temperature, pressure, soil characteristic is available in that region, and according to that certain set of crops can be grown. So same crop cannot be grown everywhere because of different set of climatical conditions. So you must be knowing these agroclimatical conditions. This will be very, very helpful if any analytical type of question comes. This is not factual. For example, if you take this zone 12, this blue color one. So this is the Western Ghat region. And so this region is associated with a very, very high rainfall, high temperature, high rainfall, and it is the Western Ghat region. So accordingly, soil is a laterite soil, and accordingly that type of crop can be grown, like for example tapioca, cashew nuts. Okay, those type of crops can be grown. So likewise you should do the other agroclimatic zone. With respect to the revolution, now UPSC at times ask question on the revolutions, especially the agro revolutions. They have asked earlier question on green revolution, blue revolution. They have also asked question on pink revolution. Okay, and blue revolution recently, second blue revolution was launched in 2018. Okay, with respect to that, UPSC had asked question on blue revolution in 2018. Okay. 2013 pink revolution was introduced, and there was mains question on pink revolution. So this is mainly a mains oriented area wherein you need to do the analysis. Okay, over here from the prelims perspective, what you can do is the color and which crop is associated with that color revolution. For example, green revolution is associated with paddy and wheat, blue with the inland fish, white with the milk, yellow with the oilseed, so on and so forth. So just remember this factually. Okay, no analytical based question will be asked. Okay, it is time that we should proceed ahead with another important topic, that is minerals and resources. See, with respect to the minerals and resources, students are worried these days because UPSC is asking question on the minerals and resources. But please, there is no need to worry. These recent questions are basically current affair based questions. And in the recent years, the manufacturing is given a boost, and mining was never given the status of an industry basically. Okay, it was basically the primary sector. It was not given this status of a secondary sector. Because of that, many mining companies which were interested in doing mining in India were not given the capital help from the banks. Loan were not given because of them not having the status of the industry. So in 2018 and post that, several reforms were done in the mining industry, and with respect to the mining, especially that of the coal, even private players were encouraged, and the coal auctioning is now being done. And since the objective is to make India a manufacturing hub, so for manufacturing raw material is needed, and for that mining is needed. Okay, so India is blessed with several resources. The problem is the technological challenge. There are problems with interdepartmental coordinations. Okay, and many private players were not interested in entering into the mining sector. So several reforms were taken, and this is because of these reforms it is there in the news. And if there is question related to mining of the minerals, certainly it would be current affair based. So students should not worry about this topic at all. So with respect to the mining and the mineral sources, what are the factors that affects the mining activity? So it is a physical factor which includes the size, grade, and the mode of occurrence of the deposit, and the economic factor, that is the demand for the minerals, the technological availability, the capital that is needed to develop the infrastructure, the labor and the transportation cost, all of these. Basically there are two types of mining, open cast mining and the deep drilling mining. Okay, both is detrimental to the environment, but mining is important because these resources, if they are not exploited, okay, the development would be somewhere lagging behind. The significance of the mining in the case of the India, see, India produces relatively 87 minerals, of which some are fuel, some are metallic, non-metallic, atomic, and minor minerals. The demand for the mineral is increasing, and in the next few years, it is going to increase by multiple folds. Okay, and with this increasing demand, the demand for the minerals will be increasing, and this is going to create additional jobs, and it can contribute, okay, an additional of $125 billion to that of the India's GDP. This is in estimation. Okay, in reality, the actual status of the Indian mining is over several years. Okay, the mining industry have become stagnant. What is the reason for this stagnancy? The reason is the private players are not willing to enter into the mining sector. The government PSUs, okay, are mainly sick, have become sick industry, especially the mining industries. The depth of the 50 to 100 meters exploration is basically done up to the 50 to 100 meters. Beyond that, the technological development is challenge, and mining lease, for obtaining mining lease, it takes like many years, so governance related issues is also there. Okay, now some geographic related facts that mining are basically, the minerals are basically classified into the metallic and non-metallic. Metallic minerals like are basically further classified into ferrous and non-ferrous. Ferrous is like iron, manganese, non-ferrous like copper, bauxite, and non-metallic like coal, petroleum, natural gas, mica, limestone. These are some non-metallic minerals. Metallic minerals, the basic difference you must be knowing: metallic minerals are present in the raw state, and the non-metallics, they do not contain any metallic substance within it. The metallic, the raw material that can be converted into formation of new products. Now, non-metallic one, they cannot be converted into something new products as such. For example, coal has to be used as a coal only. Okay, now some like the recent upgradation in the technology in the coal sector is making the coal better and better by really removing out the impurities, making it the coking coal. Okay, even further, the coal is used in the generation of the gas and the liquid fuels. Now, metallic minerals are mainly found in the igneous metamorphic rock. Non-metallic ones mainly found in the sedimentary rock. Metallic minerals is good conductor of heat and electricity. They're bad conductors. Metallic minerals, they have high malleability and ductility, and non-metallic minerals are relatively poor. Metallic minerals have luster, shine, and non-metallic minerals do not. Okay, now in the recent years, the question on this major and the minor mineral, there were two questions on the major and the minor minerals, and there was some question on the mining related policies and the act or the department related to the mining. So only these questions were asked, and again purely current affair based. So minerals are basically classified into minor and the major minerals, and the classification is done under this MMDRA Act. Okay, that is Mining Mineral Development Regulatory Authority Act. Okay, so minor minerals are the one whose economic value is relatively less. For example, building stone, gravels, ordinary clay, ordinary sand, etc. Okay, now mining minerals, the who declares the mining minerals? The declaration is done by the central government. Okay, but even the declaration of a mineral as a minor is done by central government, but to frame the law related to exploration of that minor mineral, okay, that is under the hand of the state government. So who will declare a mineral as a minor or a major? It is central government. And minor mineral, the power to frame law for the minor mineral with respect to the exploration and all, that is under the hand of the state government. Okay, some example of minor minerals are bentonite, calcite, dolomite, granite, gypsum, etc. And around 86 minor minerals are there in India. Now, major minerals. All those which are not declared as a minor minerals are major minerals. Okay, for example, lignite, coal, uranium, iron, gold, Okay, lead, zinc, manganese, magnesium, tungsten, diamond, feldspar, all of these are major minerals. There is no official definition. Whatever is not declared as a minor mineral is declared as a major mineral. Now the power to frame law for the major minerals, okay, is under the hand of the central government, Ministry of Mine. And who will declare a mineral as a major mineral? Central government. Who will frame the law for the major mineral? Again, the central government. Okay. Here was a simple question. Consider the following statement. In India, which one of the above is officially designated as major minerals? Okay, major minerals. So we just saw some of the examples here. Okay, the major minerals are chromite, kyanite, and sillimanite. Now, in the case of India, which are the important regions where the minerals are found? The minerals are found in India in several parts, but there are basically 5 major regions where the minerals are found. So, as India was formed, India passed over the reunion hotspot. So, the reunion hotspot supplied India with immense amount of the minerals, and these minerals today they are locked in the form of the cratons. Okay. And these cratons, when they are exposed because of the erosion, this erosion can be done by the river erosion or by the wind erosion. Then they supplement with a huge amount of the resources. So they are basically these major cratons, that is Aravalli craton, Bundelkhand craton, the Singhbhum craton, Bastar craton, Dharwar craton. These are those regions where immense amount of minerals is available. So these are important 5 mineral belts. Okay. Where majority of the minerals like iron, coal, manganese, copper, bauxite, mica, zinc, gold, etc. is found. These 5 major mineral belts are Northern Belt, Central Belt, Southeastern region, the Southwestern region, and Northwestern region. So in the Northern Belt is basically this Chota Nagpur Plateau and the Assam region. Chota Nagpur Plateau is having 100% of the kyanite, iron. India's 90% of the iron is found here only. Okay, then chromium, mica, then coal, other minerals like manganese, copper, limestone are also found. Assam have used to have a good resources of the petroleum, but over a period of time, because of exploration, it is now depleted. Now it also have the tertiary coal. Now central belts, basically Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra region, have a huge reserve of the iron and the coal. Godavari, Wardha Valley in the Maharashtra have a good resource of the coal. The southeastern region, basically the eastern Karnataka, Bellary and the hotspot are very well known for the iron. Andhra Pradesh, Kadapa and Kurnool, very well known for the mica. Telangana, important for the bauxite. Tamil Nadu, important for lignite. So mapping wise or factual information wise, this much should be sufficient. You do not need to see, iron is found in various region. So is the case with the coal. It is not expected from the student that they will be memorizing all of these facts, because then it will be very confusing. So just try to remember important ones. Important ones are those where majority of these minerals are found. For example, in Karnataka, Dharwad region, iron, manganese, zinc, lead, gold, tungsten. This is very, very important region. Goa, iron is found. Ratnagiri, again, iron reserve is very high. Then the northwestern region, Gujarat, petroleum, and even salt is a mineral. Okay, Rajasthan, sandstone, granite, and marble is mainly found. Now, if one needs to do something in detail, so it is going to be exhaustive. That is the reason why I do not suggest student to go too much into detail, unless if it is there in the news. For example, iron ore. Types of the iron ore are hematite, magnetite, limonite, and siderite. Okay, so iron ore, the classification of the iron ore is on the basis of the iron content. Okay, hematite have 70% iron found in Dharwad and Kadapa. Magnetite have 60 to 70% of the metallic content. Limonite have 40 to 60%, and siderite have less than 40%. So the best quality iron is hematite. Okay. In the case of the India, the iron ore is distributed in the Odisha, Barabil, Koira Valley, in Chhattisgarh, Bailadila mine, and over here this this iron is explored and it is exported to Japan. Okay, Japan have technology, we have resources. Then iron ore in Jharkhand, mainly in the Singhbhum district. Iron ore in Karnataka, mainly in the Baba Budan Hill, Chikmagalur district. Okay. Iron ore distribution in the world, you can see in many parts of the world, especially this region, the United Kingdom region, which was wherein the industrial revolution first started taking place, and this is that region where iron, coal, both is there abundantly, and it is because of these two resources industrial revolution started there. Okay, iron is also found in the majority parts of the Africa and even this region, United States. Can you see this region? So this region have a good resource of the iron and coal. So the iron and steel industry and associated industry like automobile industry is also found in this region, in the east region, not in the west. Okay, so wherever iron and coal. Iron is basically the the backbone industry for any country, and on the basis of this industry, many other industries sectors are working. So in the case of India, wherever iron and coal is found, iron and steel industries is there, and associated industries are also in the similar region. Okay. So with respect to the iron ore, this much should be sufficient enough. If something comes in the news, then only emphasize that, else not very much needed. Then with respect to the water resources, last few years there were around 3-4 questions, and these 3-4 questions were mainly associated with the proportion of the fresh water availability. So with respect to the water resources, see, 97% of the water that is available on the earth is salt water. It cannot be consumed. Then the remaining 3% is fresh water, and out of this 3% fresh water, entire fresh water is not available for the consumption because majority of them are frozen in the glaciers and they are available in the polar ice caps. So unless they melt, they cannot be made into use. So if you see this fact, this is very important. 3 questions on just one fact: water availability. 97% is seawater, 3% is fresh water. Of 3%, 69% is ice caps and glaciers, 29% is groundwater, 1 to 2% is surface water, and of this 70% is ground ice and permafrost. 21% is lake, 4% soil, 3% atmosphere, 2.5% swamp, 0.5% river, 0.3% living organism. So we can see that of the fresh water that is available, more than 2/3 of the fresh water is not available for use. So groundwater and surface water, they can be used. Okay, so they form less than 1/3 of 3%. Okay, 1/3 of 3%, which means less than 1% of the water available on the earth is directly available for the consumption. Okay, so here is this question. On the planet Earth, fresh water is available for use amounts to about less than 1% of the total water found. This is true. Fresh water is 3% and water available for use. Okay, fresh water available for use is 3% ka less than 1/3. 3% ka 1/3 is 1%. 1% ka less than 1% fresh water is available. This is true. So don't get confused. Ki sir, we had read 3% water is available. 3% fresh water is available. 3% fresh water is available, but the statement says available for use. Okay, less than 1%. Of the total fresh water found on the planet Earth, 95% is bound up in the polar ice caps and glaciers. It is not 95%. Okay, it is 69%. Alright. So one is correct, second one is wrong. Next question on the similar line: on the planet Earth, most of the fresh water exists as ice caps and glaciers. Out of the remaining fresh water, the largest proportion is, you can see over here, most of the fresh water available as ice caps and glaciers. Out of the remaining fresh water, the maximum is 29% is groundwater. The remaining exists as groundwater, that is 29%. Now, same question. With reference to the water on the planet Earth, consider the following statement. the amount of the water in the river and lake is more than the amount of the water in the groundwater. See, the groundwater is 29%, and the water available in the river and the lake, is 21.5, right? 21.5 of 1%. Yes or not? 21.5 of 1%, and this is 29%. So certainly groundwater availability is more, and water of the lake and the river is relatively very less. So this is wrong. Second statement, amount of water in the polar ice caps and glacier is more than the amount of the groundwater. Yes, polar ice caps and glacier 69%, groundwater 29%. So certainly second one is correct. Okay. With respect to the India's water resources, India's average precipitation is 117 centimeter per year. Do you remember the Indian land mass is basically 2.4% of the world. 16% of the world population is Indian, lives in India, and 4% of the water is available. Okay, so less amount of land, so less amount of water, and so much amount of population. So demand for the water and the land is very high in the case of India. Okay, in terms of the surface water availability, we have around more than 10,000 rivers. Okay, these 10,000 rivers constitute 1.6 lakh kilometer. Okay, in the India's river basin, 1,869 cubic kilometer of the water is estimated. Okay, of which 690 cubic kilometer water, that is 37% of the water, is accessible, that can be used. With respect to the groundwater, around 432 cubic kilometer of the water is available in the groundwater. Of that, 46% is found in Ganga and Brahmaputra basin alone. Now, with respect to the dams and rivers, around 59 major dams are there in the India, which holds around 170 billion cubic meter of the water. So basically, India, though 4% water is available, but we have sufficient amount of the water for our usage. The water availability becomes a problem only when the demand is exceeding than what the nature can supply. That is, when it is exceeding the ecological carrying capacity. Usage of the water. In the case of India, the majority of the water is used for the irrigation. Okay, around 85 to 90%. Then comes the industrial sector, then the household sectors. Okay, if we see the water usage, surface water, around 89% of surface water is used in farming, 9% is used for domestic consumption, 2% in the industries, and groundwater, around 92% is used in the groundwater, is used in the agriculture, and this domestic 3%, and the industrial usage is around 5%. Now, with respect to the per capita availability of water in India, see, the term like water stress and water scarcity, these are oftenly used. If the water availability per individual per year is less than 1700 cubic meter, if the water availability less than 1700 cubic meter per individual or per capita per year, then it is water stress condition. And when it is less than 1000 cubic meter per year per capita availability, it is water scarcity. Okay, water availability in India in 1951 was 5200, which kept on reducing. Okay, and currently it is 1486. Okay, and it is expected that it is going to go down further. Okay, the rate at which we have made the water available, okay, have reduced to a very large extent, and it is expected that less than 1000 cubic meter water availability is going to reach very soon. Okay, so currently we can declare India as a water stress country, and very soon India is going to become a water scarce country if proper measure is not taken, especially with respect to the irrigation, especially with respect to the agriculture. We need to have a sustainable method of the agriculture to conserve our water availability, else there will not be water available for the consumption. The reason for this water stress in the case of India is major is the agriculture sector, followed by urbanization, climate change, rising temperature, frequent flood, and the drought condition. See, in the flood, water is available, but can you drink that water? No. So in the flood, water is there, but you cannot drink water, right? So that is again a problem. Then aquifers, because of the tube well irrigation, aquifers is depleting very, very fast. Pollution, water is available, but they are mainly polluted. Okay, water pollution in India, the surface water is polluted to the extent of 70%, and the major reason for that is agriculture, industrial output, infrastructure development, and untreated urban runoff. Around 2.9 billion gallons of the untreated water is released into the Ganga every day. And way back in 2014, the government came out with the Namami Gange program. Consists of Namami Gange program of 20,000 crore rupees for the development of the Ganga River projects. Okay, by 2019, Ganga remained uncleaned. It still remained one of the most polluted river in the world. Then in 2020, COVID came, industries got shut down, and the Ganga got cleaned. Okay, so basically the release of the industrial output into the Ganga, when it was stopped, okay, the Ganga clean automatically, because it is a flowing water, it's not a stagnant water. So the moment the pollution is stopped being released into the Ganga river, the Ganga will clean on its own, right? So these the government programs have not actually brought benefit to the people dependent on the Ganga river. If you look into the agriculture sector, then those crops which is dependent upon water, cotton, rice, these are very much water consuming crops. Okay, on the other hand, water consuming industries, agriculture. After agriculture, the industrial sector में thermal power plant is the highest consumer of the water in terms of the industries, followed by engineering, paper and pulp industries. In terms of water polluting industries, paper and pulp is the first with respect to pollution, followed by textile, and even the tanneries, even the leather tanneries industries. Groundwater status with respect to the India, the availability of groundwater have reduced to a considerable extent, mainly because of the excess of the irrigation, and for that purpose the water availability have reduced to less than 1700, roughly around 1400 cubic meter water available per capita per year, and for that purpose India is declared as a water stress country. In order to recharge the groundwater, the Atal Bhujal Yojana was introduced by the government as a pilot project. Atal Bhujal Yojana for the rainwater harvesting and recharging of the groundwater, so that water availability is there in the future also. Else irrigation, drinking, okay, all would become very, very difficult. So with respect to the water, you may expect question in prelims, you may expect question in the mains, and this year, as anyways the water, the IMD is talking about the reduced amount of the rainfall because of this expected El Nino. So anyways, in a year or two, a lot of issue related to the water scarcity is going to arise, and UPSC question will revolve around those regions. Okay, so it is time that we should proceed with the last couple of topics, that is the energy. So with respect to energy, UPSC have a special focus because energy related questions is being asked by UPSC from various dimension, like the case of the geography, the case of agriculture. So here with respect to energy, question can be asked from the geography perspective, it can be asked from the economy perspective, because energy is a very, very important infrastructure, and there are several policies for the reform in the energy sector. Then the question definitely will be asked from the science and technology perspective, because India is an energy deficit country and we are mainly dependent upon the fuel energy from the other countries, and this dependency is very vulnerable, especially for a very fast emerging country like India. So we have to be self-reliant, self-sufficient okay, in terms of energy. For that, new and renewable source of energy needs to be developed. Then energy can also be asked from science and environment perspective, especially the biofuels, okay, waste to energy conversion, and of course geography is there. So from the various dimensions, as this topic can be asked, so the nature of the question will vary. So the question have been asked previously in the oil and gas, okay, the question have been asked from now these questions like West Intermediate Tax, Brent crude oil, these are basically current affair based question related to oil. With respect to the coal, they have asked characteristic of the coal, then dependency of India with respect to the coal on the other countries, coal fields in India, then the reason for the explosion in the coal mines. Then with respect to the nuclear minerals, there are questions, especially thorium, uranium, okay. Then with respect to the power plants, there are questions. Recently, coal-based thermal power plants, the question is being asked there. And with respect to thermal power plants, you need to know important thermal power plants in India, okay, and the basic functioning of it. So these are some old questions, see power stations and the states, and the recent question is with respect to the characteristic of the thermal power plants, okay. With respect to, see, there are so many questions on the thermal power plants. Hydel power plants, there are questions on the hydel power plants in the recent years also, again mapping based questions, reservoir and the states. So if you remember the rivers, important dams, projects and the reservoirs and the respective states, so it should be done in accordance with river drainage system, okay. Then it will be interrelated also, and it will be easy for you to plot these on the map. Then all of these questions are related to that. You can see question Gandhi Sagar, okay, and here Gandhi Sagar question in 2005 and Gandhi Sagar question in 2022, okay. So you should be ready with even with the old projects, because these are relatively important one, okay. Then the wind power plant, only one question, and there are some miscellaneous, one or two miscellaneous questions. So from the energy perspective, it is important that the new source of energy should be focused. So solar energy. Now in the case of the solar energy, as you know, India is a tropical country, so we have sufficient amount of the solar energy for most part of the year, okay. The problem is associated with the availability of technology. So basic functioning of the solar panels and all should be dealt in detail in science and technology, basically with the help of the solar energy, which the sun radiation, which contains photons. So photons excite the electrons, and the movement of the electrons leads to the flow of the entire electricity, and thereby the batteries can be charged. And this potential energy, okay, the freely available energy from the sun, okay, can be converted into the potential energy in the battery, and this potential energy can be used further for running several appliances. What is the solar energy potential of India? See, in 2010 the solar energy installation was just 10 megawatt, which increased to 73 gigawatt in 2023. So huge achievement. And even the World Energy Outlook said that India is expected to witness a large energy demand in next 30 years. So we need to emphasize a lot on the solar energy. India have kept a target of 280 gigawatt of the solar energy by 2030, okay, which means 30 gigawatt per year. India is the second largest market in Asia for the new solar PV panels, and third in the world. Geographical advantage of India. See, India is a tropical country, therefore we have very vast potential of the developing solar energy. About 5,000 trillions kilowatt hour per year of energy is incident on India, and we are not able to tap that much National Institute of Solar Energy have assumed that the country's solar potential is 748 gigawatt. So currently we are able to harness 73 gigawatt. That is roughly the 10% of what India's solar potential is. Okay, now these are those regions where the solar the radiation is strong enough, especially these are the semi-arid and the arid region where the cloud is relatively more clear and sufficient amount of the sunlight can penetrate. And for that purpose, in these regions important solar plants is installed. And there was a question related to the solar parks in the case of the India. So you must do this solar parks, the important solar parks in the case of the India. You must do it from the mapping perspective. For example, the Bhadla solar park in the Rajasthan, one of the biggest solar park. Okay, Dholera in the case of the Gujarat, then Rewa in the case of Madhya Pradesh, then Kurnool, Kadapa, Anantpuram in the case of, and even the Pavagada in the Andhra Pradesh, then Adani Kamuthi, okay, in the case of Tamil Nadu. In the case of India, to make the solar parks each with a capacity of 500 megawatt, that is the solar park scheme, that is the objective of that of the India. We have Pavagada, Kurnool, Bhadla, okay, and India's infrastructure at the present state is not supporting the full utilization of the solar energy. For that, the technological development is needed. Some miscellaneous point: the largest solar park in India or world also is Bhadla, which basically it is belonging to the private organization, private company. So here the largest solar park in the world, it is Bhadla. It belongs to India. And state with the largest solar energy production, Rajasthan produces largest solar energy. Then fully solar powered airport, Cochin. This was a prelims question. This was also a prelims question. And fully solar powered railway station. This was not asked, but since they can ask airport, so why should not we do the railway station also? Railway station, Guwahati, fully solar powered railway station. Largest floating solar park, okay, in India or that in the world is Omkareshwar Reservoir. So Omkareshwar Reservoir is where? In the Madhya Pradesh, over the Narmada River. Okay, so this much from the geography perspective is sufficient. What more needs to be done is from the science and technology perspective. There are a lot of policies for the promotion of the solar energy in India, and you must definitely do all of those policies and government initiatives. And likewise, you draw the map of India and you make the note of the big solar parks in India. Okay. Bhadla in the case of Jodhpur, Rajasthan, world largest one. Okay, and in the case of Gujarat, Charanka, which is in Dholavira, which is in yes, which is in Dholera. Okay, next is the Mandsaur in the case of Madhya Pradesh, Rewa in the case of Madhya Pradesh again. It is the Asia's largest single site plant. One place itself, there are many solar, the big solar park is constructed. It is awarded by the World Bank. Why? Because it supplies electricity to the Delhi Metro station also. So Delhi Metro is basically not emitting any greenhouse gas. It is running on electricity. Okay, but if that electricity is produced from thermal power plants, so on one hand greenhouse gas emission is prevented, on the other hand electricity is produced because of this burning of this greenhouse gas. So what is the use of metro then? So if the electricity of metro is also produced from the renewable source of energy, non-polluting source of energy, then it is something which is very much sustainable. So it is for this purpose that Rewa solar park was awarded by the World Bank for its contribution to the Delhi Metro and the railways. Okay, in the case of Karnataka, world's second largest solar park. In the case of Andhra Pradesh, there are many: Kurnool, MP Kunta or Anantpuram, Galivedu, Kadapa, and in the case of Tamil Nadu, Kamuthi. Okay, so you must make these outline maps, and then you must definitely mug up these facts. Next is the wind energy. So wind energy, wind is freely available. The potential, potential energy of the wind is converted into this kinetic energy, and this turbine is rotated, and the rotation of the turbine is connected to that of the generator, and electricity is generated. So the freely available energy again over here can be used for the generation of electricity. Now there is like a lot of mechanism involved, gears and all. So there are a lot of advantages also, since it is free, it is non-polluting, okay, and no greenhouse gas. Okay, now there are two types: onshore and the offshore. Offshore is like have the more potential, because on the sea there the wind speed is relatively higher, so these offshore have got relatively more advantage. Any renewable source of energy have a common advantage, like they are environment friendly, usually they are non-polluting in nature, low cost energy, because input cost is not there, so the cost of production is cheaper. Yes, the capital that is needed for the installation of those plants, that is always there. Employment opportunities can be created. The challenges is the windmills, it can create a threat for the wildlife, especially the birds, can harm the birds and local animals also. The windmills, when they rotate, they create a lot of noise, and wind, it is dependent upon the wind. So if the wind is not blowing, it will not rotate. Okay, so that is another issue. They are region specific, and at times accident may happen if there is thunderstorm and the windmill, it collapses. In the case of India have a huge potential of the wind energy. We have a potential of 302 gigawatt at 100 meter above the ground level, and 700 gigawatt above 120 meter. So India have a very huge potential for developing this wind energy, and Gujarat ranks first with respect to the potential. Okay, with respect to the production, Tamil Nadu is first, and with respect to the potential, it is Gujarat which is first. Okay, Tamil Nadu is third in terms of potential, but first in terms of production. India currently produces around 40 gigawatt of the energy from the wind as of July 2022. This is the recent data available, so you may go with this data. Now, in the case of the major wind parks in the India, it is in Jaisalmer. You must memorize all of these. Brahma Vale in Dhule, which is in Maharashtra. Vanku Savade in the case of Satpura. Tuljapur, Wasped, Jalgaon. Okay, all of these in Maharashtra. Then with respect to Madhya Pradesh, Mama Kheda. In the case of Andhra Pradesh, Beluguppa, Anandpur, and Mupandal in the case of Kanyakumari, that is Tamil Nadu. So just mug up all of these things. They are very, very useful. UPSC is asking question, and they will continue to ask question on these areas. Hydroelectric power. So this is renewable. But this is not something which is new. This is conventional only. Since long time it has been made into use. Okay, so this is non-conventional renewable source of energy, wherein the potential of the flowing river is converted into the electrical energy. Okay, on the basis of the amount of electricity they are generated, they are being classified into micro, mini, small, and mega. Okay. We have all of these type of projects in the India. On the basis of the construction and the functioning also, there are further classification. Dams cannot be simply set up anywhere. Several factors are needed, like for example physical factor like there should be continuous supply of water. The river should be perennial in nature. Okay, then the river should have less sediments. Okay, and the topography should be relatively stable. Degree of slope is also checked, and there should not be seismic activities. Economic factor like demand of electricity, capital investment, social factors like land acquisition, modern technology, location of the industries to supply this electricity, and interdepartment, interministry cooperation is important. Like every other project, this is also renewable, non-polluting input, that is water, which is free, and the cost of generation of the electricity is very very less. Okay, the cost of the maintenance is there. So operational need of the these type of power plants is relatively less because input, that is water, is freely available. But yes, capital investment is high, huge capital investment. Land acquisition has to be done for the construction of the dams. Environmental degradation may happen because flooding, submergence of some region will be taking place, and drying up of the other region will be taking place. At time, if there is delay, then the cost escalation can happen. The interstate river water dispute is always a problem in the case of India, and river water tribunal is ineffective. Usually their judgment is challenged in the Supreme Court. It may happen if the dam is not properly maintained. The dam accidents in the form of collapse of the dam can take place. Siltation of the water of the reservoir, it will reduce the water holding capacity, and overflowing of the water can take place, and this may lead to flood. This may also impact the vegetation that is dependent upon the silt, like for example mangroves. And the installed capacity cannot be increased. Whatever is the river potential, you cannot increase the potential of the river. So maximum electricity, whatever that can be generated, cannot be increased beyond that. In the case of thermal power plant, you can keep on adding the units, you can keep on increasing the installed capacity as per the demand. But in the case of hydroelectric project, their potential cannot be increased. Okay. River at times is seasonal in nature. Man-made floods and drought can be created. For example, in 2018 in Idukki district, because of the poor management of the dam, it led to the flooding. Maintenance of the turbine, usually because of these silts and pebbles, the turbine blades, they wear out, and it has to be kept on the standby, okay, for the maintenance purpose. Some miscellaneous information. First hydroelectric project in India, Shivasundaram on the Kaveri river. Largest HEP is Koyna, 1960 megawatt of electricity generates. It is in several stages. It's not just the largest dam, largest hydroelectric project. And in a hydroelectric project, there can be many dams. Okay, so Koyna is that way. Okay, the highest, if you see, highest or tallest is Tehri Dam on Bhagirathi river. Largest underground HEP is Nabtha Jakri, which is on Satluj. The world's second largest concrete dam is Sardar Sarovar Dam, which is on Narmada river. This was also prelims question. And world largest dam is in China, that is Three Gorge Dam. Three Gorge Dam, which is in China. And even this before that, it was Itaipu Dam, which is on the river Parana in Brazil and Paraguay border. Okay, so these miscellaneous points are very useful with respect to the India's potential. We have a huge potential of developing 1,45,000 megawatt of electricity through this hydroelectric project, and so far we are able to utilize only 29% of the potential. Okay, the remaining 10% is under construction. Major hydroelectric power plants. Now these are many numbers. It is not expected that you would be remembering all, but some of these which is very important. Okay, try to mug up. So hydroelectric plant, on which river it is constructed, and in which it is located in which state, and what is the potential, what is the capacity, okay, what is the installed capacity. Okay, so some like this is a big list, but the list can be like reduced also by going through the important ones and making short notes. With respect to the thermal power plants are those which uses the heat energy for the development of the electricity, for generation of electricity. So thermal power plants can be like coal based, or it can be nuclear based also, or even the waste can be burnt up and can be generated into the electricity. So basic functioning of the thermal power plant is heat. It can be by burning of the coal, okay, and this coal burn, the heat is used for the generation of the steam. So the water is passed into this thermal power plant, steam is generated, and the steam is used to run the turbine is connected to the generator, and electricity is generated. Okay, so coal based thermal power plants, okay, function in this way. Likewise, other thermal power plants relatively function in this way, that steam, the steam is cooled down again, and again it is made to run through this chamber, wherein it is again converted into steam, and the steam potential is used for the rotation of the turbine, and then it is cooled back again. So utilization of the water again and again, but after the water is lost its potential, because multiple times heating the water, okay, the water, some amount of the water will be lost definitely, and the water will be losing its potential. It would need more heat energy now. In that case, that water is discarded and fresh water is taken. So thermal power plants usually need huge amount of raw material, that is the coal or the nuclear, and water. Okay, water. So here in the case of thermal power plants, it have got some advantage. Okay, so it can be coal fired, gas, diesel. India produces electricity. More than 50% of electricity is produced by coal fired power plants, 52% electricity to be precise. Okay, and if you take the renewable energy, 40% electricity, non-renewable energy, 60% electricity. We are still dependent upon non-renewable source of energy for majority of our electricity requirement. What are the factors that determine the location of the thermal power plants? Availability of raw material, yes, constant supply of these raw material, availability of the water, transportation facilities, basic facilities needed. Then load centers, thermal power plant should be nearby the the demand center, so that transmission loss can be reduced. Ash disposal facility, because this raw material, when it is burned, ash will be produced, and this ash can be very much polluting. It can pollute air also, it can pollute soil also. They have got a lot of advantage because raw material, these are relatively cheaper. They are not as expensive as uranium. At least the capital cost is less than hydroelectric project. The installed capacity can be increased. In hydroelectric project, installed capacity cannot be increased, but over here it can be, and it can be located close to the the demand area, close to the industries. The industry usually have high electricity demand, so it can be located close to the demand area. Land acquisition is relatively smaller as compared to that of hydroelectric project, and it is not very much location specific, okay, like that of hydroelectric project or the wind power plant. So it can be set up anywhere, keeping in mind other factors are available. But there are a lot of challenges. It releases huge amount of greenhouse gas. Okay, waste like fly ash, bottom ash is also released. Fly ash, they are very fine, and they can enter into the atmosphere, and from there it can enter into the living organisms. Bottom ash, ash contains lot of impurities, like it contains lead, mercury, arsenic. Okay, and these can leach down, these pollutant may leach down and enter the environment and the groundwater, thereby entering the food chain. This thermal power plants are dependent upon the raw material. So if there is non-availability of raw material, recently there was a issue related to coal mining. When this coal mining privatization and opening up the sectors of the mining for the private sector was going on in the news, the Coal India Limited, the workers in the Coal India Limited, they did the protest that they won't be mining the coal. The reason was there was an apprehension that Coal India Limited is going to get privatized. Okay, so the availability of raw material, that is coal, was reduced, and it was apprehended that there will be a total blackout because of the shutting down of the thermal power plants. In this case, operational cost can at times be more because raw material needs to be purchased every time, and large amount of water is also needed, and efficiency is 30 to 35%. Most of the thermal power plant operates at 30 to 35% efficiency. Okay, with the better technology, it can be increased to 45%, 48% is maximum. That is what is achieved so far. India's installed capacity. See, India mainly generate thermal power plant from the coal, gas, and liquid fuel. From the coal, 54% electricity, gas 6.5%, and the liquid fuel 0.1. So around 60.4% of the electricity comes from these thermal power plants. Okay, so what is to be done is the dependency should be reduced. Now, as you have seen some of the question related to the thermal power plants, their respective location, the states, what is the installed capacity, and the operators. Even a lot of private players have entered into the thermal power plants, especially the SRs, Adani, Reliance, all of these are the major players. So one must do just the major ones, that's the important ones. Okay, in the case of India, in the case of Mundra, this was actually UPSC question, Mundra. So Mundra thermal power station in Kutch, which is the second largest thermal power station in the case of India, and Vidyanchal, which is located in Madhya Pradesh, operated by NTPC. Okay, it is the biggest thermal power station in India. So likewise, this miscellaneous information can be remembered. Now, with respect to nuclear power plants. So again, nuclear power plant, nuclear technology is very, very important, because nuclear technology is important from science and technology perspective. It is also important from the international relation perspective. So it is also a thermal power plant where instead of coal, uranium is used. So in the case of nuclear power plant, the nuclear fission reaction is taken, wherein the uranium is bombarded with the neutron. It leads to the formation of barium and the krypton, and huge amount of the energy and neutrons is released. This neutron again bombards the uranium, and again barium, krypton, and the huge amount of energy and the neutron is released. So in this way, a chain reaction, okay, can be formed. When this chain reaction is controlled, it can be used for generation of electricity. If it is uncontrolled, it will lead to formation of nuclear bomb. Okay, for that a high enrichment in the same reaction is followed in the nuclear bomb without controlling it, because the nuclear bomb is created for the destruction purpose. Okay, uranium deposit in India. India have only 2% of the world reserve, and the largest reserve of uranium is there in Australia. In the case of India, it is found in Jardugura in Singhbhum, Jharkhand district, Kodappa, Mahadek Basin, Udaipur, Alwar, Jhunjhunu region of Rajasthan. Okay. In the case of thorium deposit, India have the largest proportion of thorium deposit in the world. It is mainly found in the monazite sand, okay, in the east and west coast, especially in the case of Kerala. Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Bihar, Jharkhand are the major producer of the thorium. Now, this is also a nuclear fuel, but we do not have the technology to develop electricity purely by the thorium yet. So this technology is expected to come up in the coming few decades. Okay, currently we are dependent on the uranium only, that is available technology. Okay, why this technology, thorium based technology, is not available? Because the countries which are developing electricity by the nuclear power plant, those countries have uranium. They don't have thorium. So definitely they would come up with the technology to harness their own available resources. Why would they want to import thorium from India? Then they would be dependent upon India for their raw material import. Okay, so they develop technology from uranium. And what we have to do is we have to develop the thorium based technology on our own, isn't it? Why would anybody develop technology and give it to India? Okay, so we have to develop the technology, and the technology development is going on, and it is going to take few decades. Okay, in terms of electricity, in terms of nuclear, we have 22 nuclear reactors with 6,780 megawatt energy of installed capacity, operating at 80% load factor. India's fifth largest source of electricity for nuclear, seventh in the world with respect to number of nuclear reactor. Okay, our objective is to increase this electricity from 3.2% to 5% by 2031. We are currently producing 3.2% of electricity by nuclear, so which is very, very less. Coal say 54%, nuclear say just 3.2%. But nuclear have more potential. Okay, what is not there in India is technology and the raw material. The raw material is, that is the uranium is not there sufficiently in India, so we have to depend on its import. Like we did the important power plants in India, nuclear power plants should also be done. Okay, the nuclear power plants in India is in UP, that is Narora, in Rajasthan Rawalbhata, then Kakrapara in the case of Gujarat, Tarapur in Maharashtra, Kaiga Karnataka, Kundakulam and Madras in case of Tamil Nadu, and the others one is under construction. Okay, some are proposed, some are under construction. Now comes the fossil fuel. Fossil fuel may see UPSC have asked question on coal, crude oil, gas, all, but coal is very important because we are dependent upon the coal energy for majority of our electricity requirement. So here in the case of the coal, we can study a little bit. How is the coal formation takes place? The dead vegetations over a period of time under the influence of heat and pressure, the vegetation, they lose away the moisture is lost. Okay, and over a period of time the carbon concentration in that is increased. So moisture has water have hydrogen and oxygen. So oxygen mainly is released, water is released. Okay, and what is left is carbon. Okay, carbon. So it is the carbon concentration which basically increases over a period of time. So with time, what happens is moisture keeps on reducing, and the coal becomes better and better in terms of the carbon concentration. Initially it is peat, then lignite, then subbituminous, bituminous, and finally anthracite. So coal, the best quality coal we would say is anthracite, and the coal which is just in the nascent stage is peat. So coal formation takes place like several years. Coal contains carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, water, and hydrogen sulfide, and all of those. Where over a period of time, oxygen, nitrogen, water is reduced, carbon concentration is increased, and the calorific value, that is the heating value, that is the potential of the coal, depends upon amount of carbon in it. Okay, more carbon, more is the calorific value. Okay, and the best quality is anthracite, and the poorest one is the peat. India have a substantial amount of bituminous coal. Okay, bituminous coal. So here one must do with respect to the peat, lignite, and bituminous, the carbon content keeps on increasing, moisture content keeps on decreasing, smoke also decreases, calorific value increases, ash concentration also decreases, color, it is brown to that of dark black. Application wise, all of these are used in the burning, but anthracite, better the coal quality, for more sophisticated application it can be used. Now there is something called as a coking coal, something called as a non-coking coal. So coke, so basically it is a process wherein the sulfur from the coal is being removed. So coking is a mechanism wherein the sulfur is being removed. So basically coking is flushing out of impurities and improving the concentration of carbon. So coal, you consider the coal. So coal is partially melted and then it is then resolidified again, and then it leads to the formation of the coke. In this process, the impurities is flushed out and concentration of carbon is increased. Why this thing is being done? Because coal will have impurities. Coal, when it is heated to a very high temperature, okay, then coal will produce a lot of ash, it will produce a lot of smoke. So there is a lot of problem associated with the coal directly using. Okay, when coking is being done, that is when the impurities is being flushed out, what is left out is coke, which have a very high carbon concentration and which is porous in nature. Porous, it becomes porous. So with porosity, what happens is it do not breaks down. Okay, the heat can pass through this porous region also. It is very, very hard, and it can sustain very high heat and pressure. Okay, it is hard, solid rock. It forms rock like. Okay, very, very hard, and it can support massive load of the blast furnace. Coal cannot sustain the load of the blast furnace, and these are used in the metallurgical industries. Metallurgy industries like iron and steel industries, okay, wherein the chemical reaction is priorly set. If there are impurities, it will disturb the chemical reaction, and then the desired characteristic in the final product will not be attained. Non-coking coal basically they can be converted into powdered char, or it can be converted in liquid fuel, and they can be used in thermal power station directly for burning. Okay, so in the case of coking coal used for the metallurgical applications, also known as metallurgical coal. Non-coking basically used for generation of the steam thermal power plants, so they are non-coking. They have high carbon and heat content, they are relatively less. They have less of the sulfur content, less moisture, less of ash, and because sulfur is bad for the iron and steel industry, so that needs to be removed. Okay, they are mainly used for making coke for the iron and steel industries. Australia, Canada, US is the larger importer, and India is they are exporter. India is a importer, major importer. With respect to non-coking coal, mainly used for thermal power stations, China, Russia, US, and Australia, they are the large producer. India is also an importer of non-coking coal. India, in fact, imports more of non-coking coal than the coking coal, because coking coal is something which is processed coal. So definitely the processing will be adding value to it. Okay, this will become more expensive. This is relatively cheaper. Okay, so India imports this. India also imports this, but in order to produce it indigenously, India came up with the mission coking coal. The objective is to increase the India's potential for making the coking coal and not to be dependent upon the other countries. Okay, so coal is quite important. India is one of the largest producer of the coal in the world. Okay, India produces around this year the coking coal production have increased. In last 3 years it is increasing. Non-coking coal, their production have also increased from last 3 years consistently, and there is no data available for the coke. With respect to the import, can you see this year it have decreased as compared to last year, but non-coking coal, the import have increased, and total it have increased. The coke, that import have also increased. So you do not need to remember the exact value, but you must know the trend. Now these data are available from the ministry website, and UPSC is going to ask trend-based question, whether the import have increased or decreased, whether the production have increased or decreased. Okay, just know the trend. Okay, now with respect to import of the coal through the open general license, coal can be freely imported by the consumers. They do not need to take the government permission for that. In India, basically two types of coal is available: Gondwana and tertiary coal. Gondwana coal are very old coal. They are formed during the Carboniferous period. Okay, then it was Carboniferous period 286 to 360 million years ago. They are mainly bituminous and anthracite, and carbon content is 55 to 60%. Phosphorus and sulfur content is low. Application is mainly metallurgical. Bituminous coal is converted into coking coal, and then coking coal is used in the iron and steel industry. In India, 98% of the coal is Gondwana coal. Okay, then what is the problem? We do not have the technology for converting this into coking coal. So technology is needed. Okay, and government support is very, very important for this technological support. Distribution wise, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, all of these are important coal mines. So just memorize some of the important coal mines. Tertiary coal, just 2% of the coal in India is tertiary coal. They are inferior quality coal. Carbon concentration is less. Sulfur concentration is high. Mainly used for the generation of the heat energy. So thermal power plant. Mainly lignite. Okay. They are spread over some important regions in India. In Arunachal Pradesh, Namchik, Namrup, this was a prelims question. Okay. So important coal mines. Again, map based preparation, if it is done, okay, it makes the preparation more and more easy. Important coal mines of India. Okay, so now there is this list of state-wise reserve and the important coal mines in that respective states. So you must do this also. These are not many. Okay, having done this, we can now proceed with the last topic, that is infrastructure. In infrastructure, see, energy is an important infrastructure that we already did. Another important infrastructure is this inland waterway, then ports, road, railways, and the airways. On railways, UPSC haven't asked question. Railway also they don't ask question. In the recent year, they have asked question on ports, and last year they have asked question on roads. Start with the inland waterways first. Inland waterways. So inland waterways is the transportation by the river, lakes, canal, etc. It's one of the cheapest mode of transportation, and it can give stiff competition to the railways and the roadways. Rather, they also receive competition from them. Okay. In the case of India, we have a total navigable length of the inland waterways close to 14,500 kilometers, of which 5,200 kilometers river, 4,000 kilometers is canal, but only 2,000 kilometers so far is currently in use. See, in terms of length of the river, it is more than 1 lakh kilometer in terms of the length. Okay, but we have more than 10,000 rivers. But the entire length of the river is not useful for the inland navigation, because places there is waterfall, at places there is the water level is very, very low, water is very, very shallow. Okay, so those regions excluded. Okay, and 14,500 kilometer is the remaining area wherein it can be utilized. Okay, government is promoting this through the inland waterway projects. Okay, there are a lot of advantage. Low cost, carbon emission is very, very low, capacity can be enormous, navigability, like in terms of India, 14,500 kilometer length of the waterway navigable, and economic growth can be boosted. Very few accidents, accessibility, it can promote navigation in the rural areas, also a very remote area where the road is not available. But with respect to the challenges, the rivers are seasonal in nature in India. Many rivers are seasonal, dependent upon the monsoon. So only when the monsoon is there, the river level will increase. Then water is diverted for the irrigation purpose, so water level falls down. There is siltation that reduces the navigation. Water fall is at some place, cataracts is there. Okay, then it is quite difficult to navigate during the night time. Okay, deforestation of the hilly region leads to the erosion and further accumulation of the silt. Okay, along the delta it is difficult, so unless the degradation is done, it is not possible to navigate along the delta, and to meet the sea it is very difficult. Then there is a lack of technology like navigation system or terminal support or efficient operators. There are a lot of negative impacts also, environmental impact. The dredging damages the river bed. The dredging also affects the aquifers. Desilting may cause influx of the sea water into the river, increase the salinity of the river water. Pollution can also increase because of the oil spillage. Okay, and the social impact, in order to construct the terminals along the river, the land acquisition can be done, and at times there can be some resilient resilience from the local people. Okay, economic impact would also be there, because the people who are dependent upon the fishing, okay, if the fishing is reduced, then it may cause economic livelihood concern for the local people. In order to promote this, National Inland Waterway was enacted through this National Waterway Act 2016, wherein 111 waterway was declared as national waterway. Currently only 13 are operational. Okay, of the 13 which is operational, not all the waterways fully utilized. The Inland Waterway Authority of India was the implementing agency, established in 1986, headquartered in Noida, and this undertook the projects for the development and maintenance of inland waterway infrastructure. Even the RITES, that is the Rail India Technical and Economic Service Report 2014, have highlighted some of the important advantage. What it says that fuel efficiency can be increased, and cost of movement of the goods and the passengers can be reduced if we are using the inland waterway. Okay, now there are this is the list of the 13 inland waterway that is in operation. As such, government have declared 111 national waterways in India. So these operational national waterways are national waterway number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, then even 10, 83, 85, etc. So what question can be asked is, national waterway, on which river it is located, what is the length, and the state through which it passes. For example, national waterway number 1, it is on Ganga river. It is on Ganga river, and it joins these like the starting and the ending point is Haldia to Allahabad, that is Prayagraj, and in between it covers states like Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand and West Bengal. These 4 states are connected. They may ask some important cities along this national waterway number 1. Likewise, do the other waterways, that is river, and the starting and the end point. Okay, what is the length and which state it is covering. Okay, so likewise you can do for all these 13 waterway. This is the data taken from the ministry website. So ministry website is the best source for basically all your data statistics. Do not need to depend upon any other information. See, other source of information which is cut and paste, and they do not elaborate the content, and because of that you just have to accept those facts, whereas the data from the ministry websites, they are elaborated because it is there for the public. Okay, and common people, for understanding the common people, it needs to be elaborated. So the ministry reports and all, they are relatively big. Okay, because it is done after a lot of research and after adding a lot of data into it, and at times it becomes boring to read, but those are the best resources. They will give you the data of several years. Okay, with respect to, and you don't need to mug up all these facts, just remember the trend, whatever is important. Okay, just note down those. With respect to the ocean transport, India have a very vast coastal area, of which we have 13 major ports and 205 minor ports. Majority of the foreign trade, 95% by volume and 70% by value, is taken by this ocean transportation. Okay, majority of the cargoes like iron ore, coal, fertilizer, petrol, oil, lubricants and other products are also handled by this marine transportation. There are some important major ports. Now UPSC had asked question on Mundra port. So it is the first private port and the second largest container port of that of the India in Gujarat. Deen Dayal port, which is the renaming of the Kandala port. Okay, which is located again in Gujarat. Then in this case of the Mumbai port, okay, Mumbai port. So just see these facts, that Deen Dayal, which is the Kandla port, it is the largest in terms of volume of cargo. It imports oil and steel machineries, export for grains, and it is established in the trade-free zone. Mumbai, it is the largest port in terms of area and traffic. It is second oldest port. Which is the oldest port? Kolkata port is the oldest port, and 1/5 of the India's export is handled by Mumbai port. Since there is lot of traffic in the Mumbai port, a new port very close to the Mumbai, that is JNPT, also known as Nhava Sheva, Jawaharlal Nehru Port Trust, was established. This is the largest container port. 56% of the container of India is handled by this port. It is one of the busiest port of India. Then Panji port, okay, no much significance, but Marmagua port, it basically exports iron ore. Then we have New Mangalore port again in Karnataka. Kochi port, it is the first transshipment port. It exports coffee, tea, spices. Over here along the eastern coast, as you have already studied, that the west coast have natural ports, east coast have shallow water, so these ports are mainly man-made. Okay, so Tuticorin or Tuticorin, which is renamed as VO Chindambanar port, is located in Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu have 3 ports. Chennai port, which is the third oldest port, also known as the gateway of India. Then Karmarajar port, it is renaming of that of the Ennore port. Then we have the Krishnapatnam port, which is a second private port in 2008. This was also prelims question. Then Vishakhapatnam port, which is renamed of the Vizag port. It is the deepest port of India. Paradip in Odisha, it exports mainly the iron and coal. And Kolkata port, which is now renamed as Shyama Prasad Mukherjee port, which was the oldest port of India. So oldest port of India is Kolkata port, second oldest is Bombay, third oldest is Madras. Okay, so Kolkata port is basically a set of 2 ports. One is Kolkata port, another one is Haldia port. Haldia port, also known as the Diamond Harbour. Then this Karmarajar port, which is a Ennore port, it is the first registered as a company port. It is a public company port. And over here in the case of Andaman and Nicobar, Port Blair, which is the smallest port of India, and Galathea Bay port. It is a proposed port, and this is there in the news because Galathea port is proposed over the Galathea Bay, and this region is very, very important from ecology perspective. So a lot of criticism related to this port have come mainly by the environmentalists because they fear that this port is going to destroy a lot of biodiversity. So ports are basically classified on the basis of location: east versus west, inland versus riverine port. Okay, inland or the riverine port, tidal port, those ports which is dependent upon the availability of high tide. Ports are of great significance to any country, especially with respect to the promotion of the economic activity, for the national security, for the defense purpose. Okay, also for the tourism. Okay, port is very, very important. Road or transportation, very, very important infrastructure for any country. India have the world's second largest network of the road, and we have around 1.46 lakh kilometer of national highways, 1.7 lakh kilometer of state highways, and other roads constitute 63 lakh kilometers. So roughly we have a network of 66.71 lakh kilometer of road. There are many types of roads like national highways. National highway constitute only 2% length of India. National highway is maintained, constructed by NHAI, central government, that is National Highway Authority of India. State highway, as the name indicates, this is constructed, maintained by the state government. We have 4% of state highway. District road, around 14% of the road in India, district road. It connects the important, the main district with the headquarter with the other important nodes in the district. Then rural roads, 80% road in India are rural, and special impetus to the rural road was given by Pradhan Mantri Gramin Sadak Yojana. Other roads are also there, like for example border roads. Border roads is constructed, maintained by central government organization, that is BRO, Border Road Organization. For example, Manali to Leh road is constructed and maintained by BRO. Okay. As the name indicates, border road, they are very, very important from the security perspective. Then international highways are there, which crosses multiple countries. For example, IMT, India, Myanmar, Thailand. Okay, it is a trilateral highway. BCIM, that is Bangladesh, China, India, Myanmar economic corridor, that is proposed highway. Then Golden Quadrilateral, these are super highways. In the case of India, Golden Quadrilateral connects 4 important metropolitan cities, that is Delhi, Kolkata, Chennai and Mumbai. Now, some important roads in India. UPSC had recently asked question with respect to some international highways. So we'll try to do some important roads, not all. See, highways in the case of the India, when it is north to south, okay, north to south, they are like having the different numbers, and the east-west running highways have different numbers. This renaming have been done recently. Okay, so north to south corridor. So north-south corridor basically starts from Srinagar and ends in Kanyakumari. So this road starts in Srinagar, ends in Kanyakumari. This is highway number 44. So north to south running highway are given even numbers. East to west running highway is given odd numbers. Earlier the naming pattern was different, now it is changed. So this highway is one of the longest highway. It is 4,000 km long, connecting Srinagar to Kanyakumari, and in between all of these states are covered. Similarly, we have east to west corridor, also known as Mahasadak. Okay, it is this connecting from the Porbandar to Silchar. This is highway number 27. It is 3,300 km in length, connecting the important states. You must know the states. It is advised that you must also know the cities on those highways. Golden Quadrilateral. So this Golden Quadrilateral connects 4 important metropolitan cities: Delhi, Kolkata, Chennai and Mumbai. So Delhi to Mumbai, this is highway number Chennai to Mumbai, highway number 48. Again, Mumbai to Delhi, same highway number 48. And Delhi to Agra, highway number 44. Agra to Kolkata, highway number 19. Okay, and Kolkata to Chennai, highway number 16. So you must know which are the important highway on Golden Quadrilateral. Okay, it was launched in 1999, and it connects these 4 important cities, and of course the other states are also there. It is one of the longest road project of India and 6th longest in world. Bharatmala Pariyojana. This is an umbrella project of road construction. It was, the first phase was to be completed by 2022, but it was not completed, so it is extended till 2028. Till now, 42% of the project is completed. So what is the objective? The objective is to connect these bordering states by seamless highway connectivity. It is not constructing the whole new highway. Okay, making use of the existing highways, and wherever there is a missing link between the highways, to join those missing links, so that there is a seamless connectivity along all the border states. There are multiple reasons for this, to facilitate economic activity, and more importantly, it is for the infrastructure development along the border areas, and to provide security to the bordering region. Okay. Now, with respect to IMT, India, Myanmar, Thailand Trilateral Highway, this is also known as the Asian Trilateral Highway. In India, it will be in starting from More in Manipur, passing through Myanmar, ending in Thailand in Mysore. This is 1360 km of highway, and it is part of India's Act East policy. Nearly 70% of the project is completed. Each country is constructing highway on their own. Okay, and ultimately it will be connected to their borders. So once this is initiated, we can go to Thailand directly by road. So this will boost up economic activity in this region. Now, it is very, very important that we should have this international highway, because China is constructing highways from China into various other countries, and if we don't take the opportunity currently, then China will be occupying even the neighboring regions of the India, and nothing will be left for the India development in the future. This is BCIM, that is Bangladesh, China, India, Myanmar Economic Corridor. This was a prelims question this year. It was a proposed project. See, China and India is together in this project. So certainly there will be conflict, and certainly, it will be a stalled project. In India, starts from Kolkata, goes through the Bangladesh, Dhaka, then Myanmar, Mandalay, and China, Yunnan. So the objective is to connect these important cities. Okay, it is 2800-kilometer long project, and it is proposed one. But of course, since like rival countries like India and China is there in the same project, so certainly there is chances that in near future it is not going to complete. Then there is international north-south transport corridor. This is very, very important. Just see currently, just try to understand this map. This is Europe. Okay, this is Europe, this is Africa, and India is somewhere here. Okay, so here in this case, currently the current route that is used, is very long. Okay, just look into this. The current route, okay, from Mumbai to St. Petersburg is very, very long. So Arabian Sea, then this Gulf of Aden, then the Red Sea. After that Suez Canal, then Mediterranean Sea, Strait of Gibraltar, then this English Channel, okay, and Baltic Sea, and then ultimately going there. So basically it is a very, very long route. Okay, and it takes several days certainly. So international north-south transport corridor is basically connecting India to that of St. Petersburg in the Russia, and in between, of course, these countries would also be connected. So it is a multimodal project. Yani there is roadways, there is railways, and there is a sea transportation. Multimodal project. Okay, so it will cover countries like India, Iran, then Azerbaijan, passing through the Caspian Sea, then Russia, and not only these regions, even the other regions can also be covered by this project. So here in this case, there are several member countries looking to the advantage, like India, Iran, Russia, Azerbaijan, Armenia, Kazakhstan. All of these countries are member countries. Objective is to increase the efficiency of the transportation, and also to promote the international trade, also to provide security, in this region, and to harmonize the transportation policy. It will be of great advantage because if this is constructed, the bilateral trade between these countries will boost. Okay, it will connect Russia and India in just 16 to 21 days. Presently, it takes more than 30-35 days. Now, this route is 40% shorter than the normal route, and it is going to be 30% cheaper also. So, the cost of production, which also includes the transportation cost, that will be reduced, and the Indian product can be more competitive in these markets, and it will diversify the energy resources. India can not only be dependent upon some countries like Iran or Iraq. India can depend upon the Central Asian countries also for their energy requirement, and there is a strong issue with respect to different countries, different policies, different interest. Okay, then common policies is missing. There is security challenge, especially because of the militants. Then last is BRI, Belt and Road Initiative. This is an initiative by the China. Earlier it was known as the OBOR, One Belt, One Road. It is basically this route. This is an ancient Silk route. So silk transportation, silk trading was done by China. Silk was first developed here in China, and from there it was transported to the different part of the world and traded. Okay, so it is the old Silk route which is being revived by the China in the name of One Belt, One Road, या फिर BRI, Belt and Road Initiative. So this route is not only the land route but even the sea routes. Okay, and you can see that from the China, if it is a vast network of the infrastructure, especially the road and the ports. So China can have a very high influence upon these countries, especially in terms of the trade, okay, in terms of the geopolitics. So this can be a threat for India. Okay, this can be a threat for India if this is completed and if the neighboring countries are included in it. So India needs to take care of the infrastructure development within the India, along the border of India, as well as along the neighboring countries of India. So it have like road connectivity and the sea connectivity also. The objective of this is to revive the ancient Silk Route. See, China never claims that it is only for the China's development. It says that it is for the overall everyone's development, and 138 countries are member of it. India is not a member of it, and the reason is the China's strategic interest is encircling that of the India. China have constructed a road, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which passes through the Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. China's debt diplomacy is known to everyone in the world. Okay, so these are some challenges for the India, and China's increasing influence in the India's neighboring countries is also a cause of concern for India. So basically, with respect to India's interest, not much is there. It is mainly for the interest of China. So here we are with this last 2 minutes, road construction. See, earlier the road was like Kacha road, and presently also in many parts of the world the roads are like just constructed by just clearing of the forest and leveling of the land. Then came the brick road. This was relatively more resilient, but in the heavy rainfall and condition this also would wash away. Then comes the rural concrete road. Concretization have been taken place, especially in the case of India under Pradhan Mantri Gramin Sadak Yojana. Then is the asphalt road, which is made up of the asphalt. This is relatively more reliable. So here in the case of India, most of this road are asphalt road. Okay, asphalt is basically the bitumen and other concrete. Bitumen and concrete. Bitumen is that tar. Okay, and over here it is less costly as compared to the concrete road. It takes less time to build. It wears out due to the heavy rain. Okay, and it requires surface maintenance. Advancement in the asphalt technology have made especially this road construction relatively fast and cost efficient. Now if we compare the asphalt road with the concrete road, asphalt road have got some issues. Issues is asphalt, which is a mixture of sand and the aggregates, that is concrete and bitumen. Bitumen is one of the byproduct of crude oil, which contains hydrocarbon, so it releases huge amount of greenhouse gas. So asphalt releases huge amount of the greenhouse gas. Especially you must have seen that bitumen is melted and heating is being done. Okay, burning of the tar is being done, and huge amount of greenhouse gas is released. Okay, that causes global warming. So road construction adds up to the greenhouse gas pollution. So what is the alternative? What is the solution for that? Is instead of this asphalt, this fly ash can be used. Fly ash from the thermal power plant, the steel slag, the copper slag. Okay, then instead of hot mix asphalt technology, we can use cold mix asphalt technology, so that greenhouse gas emission can be reduced. Geotextiles, bio-based asphalt can also be used. All of these are prelims questions. Okay, question have been asked in all of these, but this is since mainly environment related, so you can go in detail in the environment topic. Now with respect to the concrete road is relatively more resilient, more strong. Okay, and it can sustain heavy rainfall condition also. So the challenge over here is, since concretization takes relatively more time, so it is time and money ineffective. Okay, it is very time consuming and it is very capital intensive. It do not wear us out easily, but the problem is if in case it wears out, okay, then it is very difficult to maintain. Okay, so here we see that infrastructure is important. There are many questions on the infrastructure that you must definitely solve. So here the objective of this series gets over. I hope you were able to understand the conceptual thing, and we were able to solve quite a number of questions also, and some current affair aspects were also covered, and more on this mapping you should be doing from the newspaper and the atlas. So thank you for watching this series, and hope you get advantage and the benefit of this as well as every other subjects. Take care everyone. Goodbye and good luck.